And chat, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Root Double Before Crime After Days, which is a game I've never heard of before. It's a patron pick, so we'll be playing this off and on when I can fit it in with the time I owe. Oh, well, that's an ominous title screen. And yeah, I'm completely blind on this. I've gathered that it's some kind of detective game. It's a visual novel, I know that much. It's some kind of detective game where you're solving a murder, I'm guessing, based on this title screen. But we shall see. Now, there is potential for technical difficulties at the start of this stream. There's a bug that's well known and reproducible with this game where the second time you try to view a video, it'll be a black screen with music. If that happens, I'll be pausing the stream and doing some maintenance, installing a mod to fix it, and then we'll continue. So, let me check the options. Just a hint will display after bad endings. Ooh. Alright, I think this is all good. Alright, let's start it. Root select. Root name after. Perspective Watase Kasasagi. Story date 9/16/2030 at 9:16 a.m. Endings cleared 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 endings! 9 souls are trapped in Labo. They attempt to escape the facility in the face of that hopeless situation. However, reality sneers at those struggling to survive. At the limits of fatigue and anxiety, and death looming over them, something lurks in their hearts. Is it the courage to never give up, or can they cleave a path to the future with their own hands? Highly recommend doing A first. Okay. Before. Natsuhiko Tenkawa. Story date 6 days earlier. Endings cleared only 5. Okay. A certain accident traps children in Labo, a nuclear research facility. It is then that the boy is caught up in a mysterious phenomenon. He finds himself recalling the past as if he were reliving it. A strange phenomenon indeed. He soon watches once again as a trivial incident causes his peaceful days to collapse. What awaits him at the end is a shocking, cruel truth. Can the past be rewritten? Alright, so there are 24 endings in this game, so that's going to be interesting. Give me 20 seconds, guys. I forgot to take a med. How many endings did we have total through the 999 trilogy? We had, I think there were 8 in the first game. 8 in, no, wait, maybe there were 9 in games 1 and 2, so 18, plus, I think 7 or 8 in game 3. Oh, there were only 5 in 999. Alright, so there were 20 endings across the entire Zero Escape series. Interesting. Alright, well, we'll start with After. They will be herded together like prisoners bound in a dungeon. They will be shut up in prison. and be punished after many days. The Old Testament, Isaiah 24:22. I get an achievement for starting after? Alright, that's cheap. The roar echoed through the laboratory at daybreak, as if it were a bell heralding the end. What was that sound? I don't know. It came from Area 1. Find out what happened. Now! Wait, we can't. The gate can't be opened during the amplification. And the reactor exploded, successfully ending the game. Oh well. Intense tremors detected in B1 Area 1. The roars didn't stop there. Intense tremors detected in B2 Area 3. The loud noises and violent shaking continued to echo through the facility. A fire has broken out in B1 Area 2, followed immediately by shockwaves and the sound of screaming. Intense tremors detected in B2 Area 2. Seems like the booms are going gradually underground. No, it's counting down from, or was it? No, it was B1, then B3, then B2. Security has shifted to evacuation mode. All gates, barring those leading to Area N, have been opened. Well, that's the opposite of the Zero Escape series. There wasn't a soul in that place who yet understood what had happened here. A clear voice echoed amongst all the confusion and cacophony. This is an emergency broadcast. Explosions of unknown origin have just occurred within the facility. That voice that announced the destruction was but a fragment of the truth. September 16th, 2030. When did this game come out? 2016? So that would have been 14 years later. 6:19 a.m. At the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization... Oh no, bioweapons. A scientific research facility located on the outskirts of Rokame City. An explosion occurred. Game came out in 2012. Oh, so it was added to Steam in 2016. Repeat, security has shifted to evacuation mode. All gates, barring those leading to Area N, have been opened. All personnel, please calmly evacuate to the surface. The automatic PA screamed out warnings as if it had broken. It was an accident that should have been impossible. The sprinkler system is not working. Why? Damn it, hurry up with the personnel evacuation. Everyone had begun ranting madly, caught up in the chaos surrounding them. The emergency staircases have collapsed? All the elevators are offline too. There's no way out. Impossible. How did this happen? Anyway, we need to get out of here. Hurry! But then a calm voice rose as if to quell the pandemonium. Calm down, people. Professor? Have you forgotten that we have a system that immediately notifies the fire department in emergencies like this? Help should be here in just a few minutes. Only a few minutes? How's that possible? These guys aren't your run-of-the-mill firefighters. They're the Special Elite Rescue Squad, Sirius. There are elite firefighter squads? Oh, okay, if it's a general rescue squad then. Our city's finest rescue squad, filled with the best of the best. How am I against the game audio, by the way, volume-wise? Sounds good. Excellent. Oh, I don't like that audio skipping. "6:26 a.m. The rescue squad arrived at the scene. Captain, all members of Team A present and accounted for. A row of rescue workers wearing protection suits stood before a man garbed in the same outfit. Excellent. Listen up, people. Countless people are trapped in this lab as we speak. And due to the nature of this facility, this will be no ordinary dispatch. Tip, dispatch has been added. We don't know what will happen here, nor what unforeseen circumstances await us. A young woman who appeared to be fairly new to the team gulped behind her faceplate. What is a 20-year-old doing on an elite firefighter team? The captain looked at her and continued. Our mission is to save lives. That's how it's always been, and today is no exception. But you are all humans before you are rescue workers. As long as you survive, that means one more life saved. Keep that in mind as you commence the rescue operation. With that said, good luck to you all. Yeah! With that shout, they rushed into the facility, all while having no idea of what awaited them there. And thus, the dispatch that would later come to be known as Sirius's longest day had begun. Form two-man cells. Tachibana, you're with Moribe. Dojima, you're with Hiyama. Make sure to keep in constant contact with Team B. Don't forget this. They all had the same conviction: to accomplish the mission they'd been handed by whatever means necessary. However, what they found lurking there far exceeded their imagination. Countless unexpected complications kept arising one after another. Moribe, there are still people in the basement. Let's go, Lieutenant. Kasasagi, get to the basement ASAP. Hurry, there's no time. Roger that. Just wait right there. I can't get through to him? Huh? That's odd. Did something happen to the captain? So this is Area N, huh? Those two are trapped just up ahead, right? Right, so let's go. Back then, we couldn't save anyone. The time to atone for that has finally come. But even that determination can be crushed. Impossible. No one's here? Were we tricked? Why? By whom? God damn it. Why did this have to happen? Oh, those are some bodies. Clover went nuts on them. Why is the captain suddenly not muffled? Don't grieve. Now's not the time for regrets. Our mission isn't over yet. A Case N has just been detected. In accordance with this emergency, security has shifted to normal mode, locking down all bulkheads leading to the surface. I'll go look for her. Are you serious? All by yourself? There's no other choice. I'll leave the rest to you guys. If I'm not back in 20 minutes, go on without me. He swallowed his regret and ran. All in order to stick true to his conviction. This is all very nice, but I'd really like to get their helmets off so I can tell them apart, and on with the start of the story. I guess part of it is that I have to wait for them to stop talking before I can read out their lines. Finally found you. You're a person of interest to this lab, right? Is that a French maid? Who are you? I'm a rescue worker. I'm here to save you guys. Thus, he found a lone girl, and then... If you want to turn off voice acting, you can do that in the settings by putting voice volume to 0. Oh, hey! Cool! I don't have access to the settings right now, but I will definitely do that. They should still be here. Can't I just right-click? I'll try in a moment. No, that just skips ahead. It just skips the dialogue animation. I'm sure they're just up ahead. He endured the pain and kept on walking. What pain? And then, at the end of his mission... Did he get stabbed? He came face to face with a monster. What? The monster took hold of his wrist. Why is he suddenly outside his suit? Ha! The monster looked at him and laughed. The man spotted a broken wristwatch out of the corner of his eye. At that moment, just as an indescribable fear sent shivers down his spine, he was assaulted by an intense pain akin to his brain being crushed. Well, that's a bit of an understatement if his brain's being crushed. The man screamed, faced with an agony unlike anything he had ever felt before. He struggled to understand the source of the pain amidst the confusion engulfing him. That was... My head! It can't be! Not you too! His well-toned body proved helpless in the face of that power. You damned monster! In spite of that, he struggled against it, attempting to complete his mission. Nevertheless, his will broke as the overwhelming pain surged through his head once more. He staggered backwards, clutching his head. The monster's face warped sinisterly, its gaze piercing right through him. Alright, we're gonna save. How do I head to the menu? I can't quit to the menu right now without closing the game. Okay, I'm going to close the game real quick. I'm going to reopen the game. We're going to shut off voices, and then we'll continue. Especially since the voices are skipping. That's a big bug they should have fixed before releasing the game. Option. Sound. Voice volume. Minimum. Back. Now saving. Continue. Load. Prologue. Yes. Ah! He then fled without looking back. If he'd stood his ground, he'd be killed, annihilated. And so he held his throbbing head as he ran for his life. I have to get away, as far away as possible. He had to retreat to a place where the monster's power couldn't reach him. But it was all for naught. Suddenly, JRPG battle! Everything in front of him flashed as he felt an agony like that of his head exploding. That was the last thing he felt. And then, as if someone had flipped a switch, his consciousness faded into darkness. Thought he was the kind who was prepared to die? He gave a whole speech at the start about saving yourself and counting as saving another person. Eventually, far past that frozen time, at 6:20 and 30 seconds. Awake, a voice called to him. Or perhaps it was merely a memory of such a voice. He heard that voice as he lay beneath the whitewashed tomb. And then, time began to move. Not going to animate the watch? Alright. Oh, it autosaves. Okay. His consciousness was in an endless darkness. A world where everything was closed off. Sight, hearing, touch, smell, taste. He'd been disconnected from all his senses. It didn't feel like there was a world around him to experience at all. You are now tasting your own tongue. Where am I? He didn't know. His head was a total blank. What is this? All he could sense was a feeling of loss. What's going on? It felt like he was lacking anything definitive. How did this happen? He desperately tried to figure out why. Soon enough, fragmented images twinkled in the corners of his mind. I see. So that thing attacked me. It looks like a person. Why are you calling it a thing? Is this death? No. The sound of a beating heart echoed inside him. He knew for sure he could perceive that. This guy is... No, not this guy. I'm... alive. Sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, pain. I have all of those senses. My body and consciousness are right here. I'm right here. Could be a being that used to be human that became something else. Well, I don't think it's a zombie because it was holding a gun. I'm right here. Ted! Captain! Please hang in there! Captain! Get up, Captain! Come on! With the sound of those voices suddenly filling his ears, the man opened his eyes. Oh boy, this game is super anime then, alright. You've finally come to, haven't you? What a relief. I thought you bit it there for a sec. The man said nothing as the women before him started addressing him. But what the heck are you doing here, Captain? Shouldn't you be at the command post? More importantly, can you say your own name, or what day and month it is today? What? Huh? The man already felt confused in the face of the sudden storm of questions he'd been sucked into. He first tried to grasp the situation around him. The women in front of him were wearing orange uniforms. Oh, we've got protagonist amnesia, don't we? Zero Escape is notably rather not anime-ish for a visual novel. 999 and VLR are still fairly anime. If that's not very anime for a visual novel, I am going to be astounded by how anime other visual novels are, aren't I? The women in front of him were wearing orange uniforms. So they're firefighters. No, rescue workers? Their uniforms were covered in soot. Disaster, accident, rescue. Vague images related to those words swirled around the man's mind. No, where am I? You shouldn't sit up yet. The man ignored her warnings and sat up, then checked his surroundings. He was in some building he'd never seen before. He'd apparently been lying in the middle of a hall. He could see cold steel doors and fire hydrants lining the corridor. A glance up at the ceiling revealed air ducts, sprinklers, and so... You can argue on VLR, but 999 is pretty grounded until like Endgame. I'm talking about the art style, not the plot. Ugh! A sharp headache hit the man at that moment, causing him to fall to the floor yet again. Shoulda listened to your coworkers. Are you okay? Are you in pain? No shit he's in pain, woman 2. No, I'm fine. You're not fine. Just then, the man realized he was wearing the same uniform as the women. Why am I wearing this thing? He felt a strange sense of discomfort. Like he had no connection with himself. Why was he in this uniform? What am I? The man stood up as he shook his groggy head. His body also felt off. Almost like his body and mind weren't properly linked. It kind of feels like this isn't my body or something. Brain transplant! No sooner had this thought crossed the man's mind. Oh, it's still happening. Then did the air suddenly shake. What was that? I think the air is the only thing that didn't shake, narrator. The women paid no heed to the man's confusion and instead exchanged glances. Oh, she is stacked, huh? Another explosion. Maybe a fire's broken out. Let's go, Lieutenant. Right. Captain, please rest here. We'll handle this one by ourselves. The woman who'd been called Lieutenant broke off into a run alongside the other woman, who was apparently her subordinate. Huh? Hold on. Scared of being left alone and totally in the dark about what was going on, the man followed the two. He called out to them as he started closing the distance. Wait up, you guys. Captain, I thought I asked you to rest. Nah, I think he looks okay. Give us a hand, all right? Oh, you don't want a hand from this guy. No, that's not it. I just want to ask you something. What was that noise? What's happening? Huh? What are you talking about, Captain? You say you don't get what's going on? No, I don't. The women looked at each other for a brief second. You'll understand if you come along. Please, keep close to us. She's doing that thing where an anime character will cross her arms just to highlight her breasts. In a very unnatural way. Well, I don't know. Do women with big boobs cross their arms like that? I guess they'd have trouble crossing their arms in front of their boobs. But that's not why the artists do it. It's so that they can highlight their boobs. The lieutenant broke off into another run at those words, with the man hot on her trail. She then opened a door at the end of the hall. And heat, sending intense heat surging out of it. What is this heat? A heat haze filled the area, distorting their vision of what was before them. You should really put on your protective suits, guys. We need to put out this fire on the double. Yeah, before there's another explosion. The women passed through the open doorway. The man followed suit and ran through the hallway, only to be greeted with hellfire. The man froze in shock at the scene he was confronted with. But the women quickly got to work without even a moment's hesitation. Get a hose ready. Roger. A hose from where? Whoa, out of the way, Captain. Whoa. The female rescue worker pushed the man aside and pulled out a hose from a fire hydrant built into the nearby wall. Well, that's convenient. She then passed it to the lieutenant, who directed its nozzle toward the flames. Commence water release. Roger, here it comes. Pointed directly at the captain. A jet stream of water collided with the flames, which erupted into large clouds of steam. Incredible. The fire's getting smaller and smaller by this. That's how firefighting works, Captain. The man stared at the swiftly dying fire with stark amazement. This guy is easily entertained. Just then, he heard something else mixed in with the sound of the flames evaporating. A faint sound. One. Was that a voice? He wondered if it was his mind playing tricks on him for a second. But as soon as he strained his ears, help me! Covered in burn scars, he definitely heard what sounded like a young girl's voice coming from the room in front of him. Someone's in that room? The man's body started running as soon as this thought hit him, weaving its way through the gaps between the flames. The room's door was crushed inwards due to the effects of the explosion. The man peeked into the room from the shadow of the broken door and discovered a world of fire and smoke. Where is it? Where's that voice coming from? From the computer! His hair was singed by the sparks bathing him, creating an awful stench that hung in the air. What's more, his eyes were tearing up thanks to the smoke irritating them. But he endured it and focused on searching the room. Oh, it's the maid girl. Someone help me. Found her. Through the fire and the flames we carry on. He could see a girl crouching under a desk in the room. Are you okay? No, she's not okay. She's in the middle of a fire. The girl looked towards the man's voice with hope in her eyes. But the moment her gaze met the man's, her face froze. What's with that look? Overcome with confusion, he came to a halt. But at that moment, don't stop! Save her! Oh, we got a voice in our head. He suddenly heard a voice. He didn't know whose voice it was. It sounded like it had echoed from inside him. But the moment he heard it, everything suddenly fell into place. He finally realized why he was here. That's right. I came here to save her. The moment he came to that realization, his previously divided body and nerves seemed to finally become one. The flames were closing in on the girl. The voice resounded yet again in his head. Move it, dumbass! Go save her! And with that command giving him the final push he needed, the man lunged into the blazing flames. And she exploded. After Chapter 1, the 9 o'clock chapter. We apologize for interrupting you so early on, but there are no choices in this world. Oh, is it just a straight shot? Regardless, we need your power to link this world to the future. So the Senses sympathy system has been prepared in order to allow you to willingly influence the world. This tutorial will explain the SSS to you. But before that, let's explain what we mean by senses here. Senses refers to impressions, emotions, sensations in this context. Put it simply, it's your assessment of how you feel about someone else. In other words, if their senses are high, you have a good impression of that person. But on the other hand, if their senses are low, that means you have a bad impression of that person. And the Senses sympathy system exists to quantify your senses and reflect them on this world. Now then, let's explain how to change the value of your senses. It's a dating sim! In specific scenes, a graphic that looks like a magic seal will appear in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. This is known as the enneagram. An enneagram is a kind of personality assessor that categorizes people into 9 different personality types. Oh, this is going to be complex. Each of the 9 main characters of this story have been categorized into these 9 types. Excuse me. Alright, so we've got subordinate, lieutenant, captain, maid, nerd, other maid, third maid. Does she also have the maid outfit? Huh. Thus, the 9 characters have been distributed onto the 9 ports of the Enneagram. A graph similar to a radar chart is displayed on top of the Enneagram. This graph is a symbol that represents senses. The shape of the graph corresponds to the 9 characters, and its shape will change as you alter their senses. You can input the senses of 9 characters, which includes the protagonist. Thus, in a sense, you can date yourself. You may also set the senses you have for yourself. In such an instance, you determine whether or not you have confidence in your instincts and opinions. Alternatively, you determine how much you value yourself. Senses sympathy system. Truly a system where you determine the protagonist's various sensations/senses each time. Your senses will be used to determine which scenario divergence you will travel down at fixed divergence points. At divergence points, the story automatically diverges in accordance to the level of your senses. Okay, so there's no specific choices like in the Zero Escape series, but there are dialogue options that affect your dating sim values, and your dating sim values at specific points in the story branch it off. You can't simply input your senses whenever you want. You can only do that at sections known as branches. When you arrive at a branch, the Enneagram will appear in the upper right-hand corner. Please check if the Enneagram is displaying or not to determine when you can and can't input your senses. Allow us to explain in detail through example. Let's play a demo scenario branch while you actually control the system. First, please take a look at the next scene. The senses input hasn't appeared yet, so please just play through the text as you normally would. In a certain boy's house, a TV and a game console were sitting in a neat and tidy living room. Oh, I'll bet that this tutorial actually does affect something late in the game. Just then, a girl came down from the hallway and spoke in an inquisitive voice. "Hey, what are you doing?" "Just standing here." "Huh? You're playing a game tutorial?" "Is it really important?" "I see. You must be real busy, huh?" Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something, but this is a bad time, isn't it?" The girl looked at you hopefully as she said that. "Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like I'm just bothering you, so I'll ask you later." "No, don't worry about it. It wasn't all that important." "Okay then. Good luck with that game tutorial." The girl slumped her shoulders with disappointment, and she left the living room with a lonely step in her gait. I want to make choices. This was an example of an occasion where your senses for that girl were low. Oh, okay, so things happen based on my dating sim values. Like, it would have, if my dating sim value for that girl was high, I would have had the conversation with her. Now then, let's play that scene one more time, with the goal this time being to make the girl happy. There'll be a branch this time, so you can input your senses there. When you arrive at a branch, the Enneagram will appear in the upper right-hand corner. Please increase your senses for the girl before the Enneagram disappears. When the senses lights up, please click it to bring up the senses input screen. You can also bring up the input screen by pressing the V button. Okay, so do you lose dating sim points with people manually? Like, do you have to reduce your dating sim points with one character to raise them with another? Interesting. When you click the senses, you will arrive at this screen. This is the senses input screen. Use the cursor to choose whose senses you'd like to change. Bring it to the knob directly below them, then change their senses. Click the Decide button to set your values and to finish the input process. You can only do a senses input one time per branch. You can't input again if you change your mind after you've decided, so please be careful. Hey, what are you doing? You're playing a game tutorial. Is it really important? Oh, her name is you? She's a childhood friend. Okay. Type Peacemaker. Wait, I just lowered my senses with her. I didn't want to lower my senses with her. Oh, it's a gauge. Okay, let's max it out. Sure you want to set your senses at these values. Once you set your values, you will not be able to date them until the next branch. I get an achievement for maxing her out. Is it really important? I see. You must be real busy, huh? Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. But this is a bad time, isn't it? The girl looked at you hopefully as she said that. So you... Huh? You'll listen? Really? Is that okay? Yay, thank you. Well, you see, today's a holiday known as Tanabata. And you know, if you write your wish on a strip of paper called a Tanzaku today, it'll be granted. So I was thinking that we need to make preparations for it right now. The girl then started talking happily about the bamboo trees that are set up on Tanabata. Congratulations, you have successfully raised the girl's favor. In this example, the girl had 2 different reactions, but there may be more than that depending on the situation. Also, there isn't always just one senses target. If there is ever more than one target that you need to take into consideration, you'll have to reevaluate your senses for them individually. In these situations, you can input for more than one character. But the only one whose senses you can input are those who are involved with the next branch. You cannot alter the senses for an unrelated character. There will occasionally be times where senses hold a greater importance than usual. As such, there are 3 different senses colors. Oh my god, it keeps going! Each one corresponding to the importance of the upcoming branch. Blue. This signifies an event where you can probably influence a target's favor. A blue branch, as it's known, is generally not all that important. You don't even need to change your senses every time it comes up. All you have to do is change it whenever your impression of the target alters. But if you neglect too many blue branches, it could have dire consequences for you farther down the line. Yellow. This generally signifies an event where you can probably influence someone's actions. A yellow branch, as it's known, is generally very important. Expect them to signify big changes, such as changing your destination or travel partner. They're not dangerous, but it's best that you change your senses to reflect your intentions at these points. And though it's rare, a yellow branch can signify that a branch of grave danger is approaching, so please be careful. Red. This signifies grave danger. A red branch, as it's known, is of the utmost importance. Decide incorrectly, and you will find death lying in wait for you. Keep your eyes peeled to avoid danger, and please check your senses immediately to ensure there are no problems. Also, branches directly related to the story's conclusion will be read. We recommend you exercise cautious judgment there in the same way. This concludes the dating sim tutorial. Your senses will change the situation in various ways. Now then, let us return to the world. When time starts again, a senses input will appear right away. The Enneagram will be glowing yellow. This indicates that a branch of great danger is coming up. Should you choose wrongly, death may soon claim the man. Oh, so I don't have to worry about other people dying, just myself. Please look over the situation calmly and select your dating sim values right away. We are expecting your feelings to have a good effect on this world. Oh my god, it's throwing Steam achievements at me. How many achievements are there in this game? 49, okay. Hold on, I'll save you. Oh, hello. The man screamed this, was about to rush into the flames, but was interrupted by someone grabbing him by the collar. Senses myself. Let's raise her up to this point. Yes, I will set my dating sim values here. Captain, you can't just rush in blindly like that. But if we don't do something quick, that girl will. I'll take care of it. Once he heard her say this, the man... Got it. I'm counting on you. Gave that answer instinctively. He felt more at ease, leaving it up to her. Alrighty, leave this to me. The female rescue worker quickly brushed the man aside, dashing into the room. Lieutenant, back me up with the hose. Roger. The lieutenant pointed the hose upwards. The jet stream shattered apart when it hit the ceiling, scattering into a spray. Is that an actual technique for firefighters? The female rescue worker then ran into the room, as if clad in that water. What an amazing technique. You know, you'd think you just spray the fire. It was perfect teamwork. The female rescue worker then ran up to the girl through the mist and steam. Oh yeah, survivor secured! And shouted triumphantly. That dramatic rescue had happened in the blink of an eye. A few minutes later, once the roaring inferno had been doused. I'm going to save. The rescue workers tended to the girl they'd saved. Don't worry, miss. You're safe now. Are you hurt? No. The man stood a short distance away, observing them. What is with that hat? You're a nuclear researcher. In the end, he'd been completely useless, both at putting out the fires and at saving her. So he figured the least he could do was talk to her. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Another frightened look engulfed the girl's face at that moment. Did you do something, Captain? Huh? No, nothing, honest. Try not to scare her, okay? Your face is already scary enough as it is. Don't you kitty face me! Oh, I'm sorry. Guess I gave you a little shock there. But you can take it easy now. We're on your side. We came here to save you. Probably. The girl's body shook with a start upon hearing that. Captain, why would you ever say something like that? Yeah, you've been acting weird ever since you woke up. Not knowing what's going on is one thing, but you've been no help at all either. Sorry. Tell him you have amnesia. After giving a brief apology, the man fired off another question. By the way, can I ask you guys a question? You've been calling me captain, so does that mean I'm the captain of a rescue squad or something? Huh? The heck you talking about? What do you mean by that? The man thought hard once he heard their surprised answers. But as he'd feared, he couldn't locate any information about himself in his head. Well, the thing is, I don't know anything. No thoughts, head empty. Not who I am or even where I am. Huh? The women's faces twitched at that proclamation. You don't mean... You've got amnesia? Amnesia. The man mulled over that word. So that's what it is. But for some illogical reason, the answer, no, that's not it, suddenly popped into his head. He got his brain popped by a gun zombie. It's more like my mind's denying me the right to think about who I am. It was a strange feeling. But since it didn't look like he could explain what had happened to him very well, he reluctantly decided to go with their suggestion. His hard drive got formatted, yeah. Yeah, I guess you would call this amnesia. Come on, Captain, quit pulling our legs. No, I really wish I was joking. Wait, you mean you're totally serious? Please, hold on a moment, Captain. Did you hurt your head by any chance? I mean, it's not like he remembers. My head? Now that you mention it, I did have this really bad headache a few minutes ago. I knew it. There's a possibility that you hit your head on something. That's probably why you're feeling so dazed and having trouble remembering things. Then that means your memories should return in time. Is that how it works? Yes. It appears that retrograde amnesia caused by physical trauma goes away fairly quickly on its own, without requiring any particular treatment in most cases. The lieutenant calmly explained that as she threw around a few technical terms here and there. Then you're saying this is only temporary? Yes, but if you suffered brain damage by any chance, it's possible that your amnesia could be permanent. And I believe there have been a few cases where death occurs if the brain damage is left untreated. Real reassuring. Also, I saw the gun zombie in the dating sim value wheel. So, it'll be interesting to see how he interacts with us. The man felt a shudder run through him at those words. What the hell? That's horrible. Captain, how bad is your headache? Do you feel like throwing up? No, my head doesn't hurt at all right now, and my stomach feels fine. Should Lore be checking the tips? I know what amnesia is. Then I guess he's in the clear? No, we can't be sure of that just yet. If you'll please bear with me for a moment, Captain. The woman grabbed the man by the arm, rolled up his sleeve, and looked at his wrist. He hadn't noticed it until that moment, but he had some kind of wristband-like object wrapped around it. What's this? It's called a vital checker. It automatically diagnoses the wearer's health. A closer look revealed there were several numerical readings and 5 green lights on the device. 5 chances to fuck up. Status all green. No issues with your pulse, blood pressure, or anything else. You're completely healthy. Then it looks like we don't have to worry about him dropping dead or anything like that for now, right? Oh yeah, it is a Pip-Boy. But we can't be optimistic about that without an expert's opinion. Please, get yourself a proper examination and treatment later. The female rescue worker's eyes widened as soon as she heard the lieutenant's reply. Oh crap, almost forgot. Lieutenant, we need to give this girl some AD fast. AD? Advanced Directive, Living Will? The lieutenant's face froze at those words. Oh no, how could I have been so careless? The lieutenant wasted no time in taking something out of her pocket. It was an ampule loaded in a transparent container. The lieutenant turned it towards the girl and spoke. "Please hold out your arm." "No, I don't want that shot." "You can't be like that. You'll be in grave danger without it." The girl turned around and tried to run, but the lieutenant grabbed her before she could. She then rolled up the girl's sleeve without giving her a chance to speak and pushed the tip of the ampule into the girl, injecting her with its contents. And then she turned into a gun zombie. "Ah!" The girl's eyes widened and her body trembled. Feeling rather unnerved by her reaction, the man spoke up. "What's that drug?" "It's called AD. Put in simple terms, it's an anti-radiation drug." The man felt an ominous echo in those words. "Did you say an anti-radiation drug?" "Yes, it was given to us by members of this facility's staff for this mission." "It's Radaway. We can't survive in here unless we keep injecting ourselves with this, because..." The lieutenant surveyed her surroundings, then continued in a bitter voice. "Because this facility is currently contaminated from top to bottom in radiation." "What?" The bad feeling he'd gotten earlier only intensified with that statement. "Hold on a sec. Radiation? Contaminated? What are you talking about? And why aren't we wearing our protective suits anymore? What the hell kind of facility is this place?" The lieutenant took a good hard look at the bewildered man and followed up with a clear answer. "Oh, I get it. The dating sim values are going to determine who I follow in certain situations. Like, for example, if I have to choose between the gun zombie and the lieutenant, if I raise the value of one and lower the other, I'll choose that one." "Okay." And followed up with a clear answer. "A nuclear energy research facility, equipped with a small-scale nuclear reactor used for research purposes. When did Fukushima happen?" "And nearly 2 hours ago, that very same reactor went through a meltdown." Even though it was supposedly his first time hearing that word, it still managed to send shivers down the man's spine. A meltdown? Simply put, it refers to when something causes a nuclear reactor to melt, resulting in the nuclear fuel inside leaking out. Fukushima was 2011. God, has it really been 12 years? So yeah, this was topical at the time. It is an extremely serious accident that is frequently accompanied by explosions and fires. Okay, so the only meltdowns that have occurred in nuclear reactor history are Chernobyl and Fukushima. And in neither case was it safe to go into the facility itself right after the meltdown. These people should all be dead. Like, even if the rescue crew went in loaded for anti-radiation drugs, the people inside, like the maid girl, would not have some in her system, so she should be dead already. Alright, hang on one sec. And it also spreads radiation that has harsh negative effects on the human body. The entire facility is currently contaminated with such radiation. That can't be. You say this place is contaminated, but it doesn't look that way at all. Radiation is odorless and invisible to the naked eye, but it's definitely there, eating away at our bodies. The lieutenant then took some sort of device out of her pocket. Geiger counter? This is a Procyon, a device for measuring radiation. The reading it's currently showing is 1108 MSV per hour. This is approximately over 20 million times more radiation than what exists in nature. 20 million? Even under normal circumstances, there are faint levels of radiation in space and on the Earth's surface, but the dosage is so low that it has almost no effect on the human body. But when in a situation where you're exposed to such abnormally strong levels of radiation, like the 1108 MSV surrounding us, it's known as radiation exposure, which causes severely negative effects on the human body. This includes skin inflammation, nausea, organ failure, brain cell damage, vision impairment, neurological disorders, genetic disorders, and cancer. The lieutenant's matter-of-fact explanation caused all the hair on the man's body to stick up on their ends in fear. These health problems can occur when you're exposed to 100 MSV and above, meaning that the levels we are being exposed to right now are particularly strong. Even with the radiation meds, we should all be dead, since we're out of our suits. This environment is so deadly that we normally wouldn't be able to take even a single step in here. And though some areas in the facility have less radiation than others, it's completely impossible to avoid exposure, no matter where you are. We can't get away from it? Are you shitting me? How the hell can you be so calm at a time like this? Please wait. Please remain quiet until I've finished explaining. The man instantly shut up at the lieutenant's firm voice. She gestured to the empty ampule in her hand and continued. But this AD drug offers almost 100% protection against the effects of radiation exposure. Granted that you're in an area with lower radiation levels, that is. We're not in an area with lower radiation levels. Alright. Type loyalist. Let's raise our dating sim value with her. To there. 100%! This is no ordinary drug. It contains medical marijuana that detoxifies and expels the radiation received by the human body. That said, it's only effective for a mere 60 minutes. We don't have a lot of it either. Upon hearing her whole explanation, the man chose to trust her. I see. Everything he'd just heard felt so utterly unrealistic. But given how the lieutenant had said it all with a straight face, it was probably true. But he suddenly felt a chill run through him. Hey, you sure we'll be okay without getting shots too? What do you mean? We only just injected ourselves right before we found you. The lieutenant and her subordinate gasped. Oh yeah, Captain, when was the last time you gave yourself some AD? I don't know! I don't know. Crap, you'd better inject yourself just to be safe. You should have some AD on you. The man frantically searched his pockets and quickly found an ampule in one of them. Found it. Using it's a piece of cake. It comes with its own cartridge, so just put it in that. Now all you've got to do is break off the tip, put it against a vein, and then just press the end. Like this? Urged on by the woman, the man loaded the ampule into the cartridge. Once he injected it, the fluid in the container entered his body, accompanied by the slight prickling pain that came with the shot. And at that moment, he felt like something had faded from his head. What's this feeling? Is it a side effect of the drug? What's wrong, Captain? This means you're safe for now, so there shouldn't be a problem. Safe? The idea of feeling safe in this situation was totally insane to the man. There's no way in hell I could accept a messed up situation like this so easily. He decided to try asking a question in an attempt to keep himself from worrying. Hey, can I ask something? Just who am I, and what's happening right now? And, right, the exit. Where's the exit to this facility? The lieutenant and her subordinate exchanged glances upon hearing his chain of questions. The exit, huh? And we'll take you to it now. We'll take it to you now. I'll explain the situation to you on the way there. Alright, we are going to save. And I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a few minutes. I gotta go to the bathroom. Alright, I'm back. Let's continue. Then we'll take you to it now. I'll explain the situation to you on the way there. Their words seem to carry a heavy weight to them. Oh, thanks. I'd appreciate that. Roger that. Then, Captain, ma'am, this way, please. Okay. The lieutenant started walking. The rest of the group soon followed after her. Closed circle. The group, led by the lieutenant, approached what appeared to be a connecting passageway. It was blocked by a metal door, but that opened once the lieutenant had operated a nearby terminal. On the other side was another block that looked like it belonged in an office building. This place is huge. Inner circumference side first area. Okay, so this place is laid out in rings, I'll bet. Just then, the lieutenant turned to the man and spoke. Captain, which would you rather know first, your personal information or the situation? My personal information, please. Understood. Then let's start with your name. It's Watase Kasasagi. Watase Kasasagi? So that's my name. The man, no Watase, listened to the lieutenant list off facts about him with a strange feeling in his heart. Do I get to hear them? You're 32 years old and single, chronically single. It's kind of pathetic. You're a member of the Rokame City Fire Department's Special Elite Rescue Squad, Sirius. Your rank is Fire Lieutenant. And you're our squad's captain. In other words, that makes you our direct superior. We're not taking orders from you in this situation, though. Not when you're like this. Is any of this bringing back any memories? No, not ringing any bells. I see. All right. Blue dating sim values. Type challenger, type loyalist. Let's trust her a little more. By the way, what are your names? Oh, forgive me for not telling you sooner. I'm Kazumi Tachibana, Fire Sergeant. I serve in this squad as your lieutenant. Watase carved this information into his memory. Kazumi Tachibana, my lieutenant, huh? Seems like the cool and collected type, if you ask me. The woman named Kazumi appeared to be strict, both towards herself and others. Can I call you Miss Kazumi? No, please call me Tachibana instead. There's no need to be formal with me. Watase nodded. Just then, the other rescue worker spoke up. And I'm Jun Moribe, firefighter, 20 years old. I only just joined Sirius this year, so I'm what you'd call the team's new blood. My nickname's Sirius Lady Suicide Squad Chief. My catchphrase is, June's my name, rescue's my game. Let's get along, okay? She is relishing the opportunity to be on equal footing with her boss. She felt like the complete opposite of Kazumi. Jun Moribe, the team's newest recruit, huh? She sure is a bright bundle of energy. She seemed to have a fierce will, and yet a cheerful and friendly personality. She didn't appear to be very conscious of the hierarchy in the group, perhaps because she was a lot younger than her superiors. Oh, she's completely aware of the hierarchy. She's just relishing the fact that she's on equal footing with her boss right now. Please excuse her attitude. I keep telling her to do something about it, but it just doesn't sink in. I usually am careful about it. It's just that when I get to work, I get caught up in the heat of things and can't hold myself back, you know? Yeah, I don't mind at all. Actually, it'd make things a lot more comfortable for me. Why are the only people working here children? Because it's anime land. Woohoo! You're so understanding today, Captain. Well, it looks like she's got the skills to make up for it. She'd have to have nerves of steel to stay so cheerful in a situation like this. Watase then turned to the last member of the party as that thought crossed his mind. Oh, this girl's not going to react well to you not knowing her name. So then, what's your name, Missy? Oh, she hid behind, Moribe. The girl hid herself behind June as soon as Watase asked. Oh boy, doesn't look like she's warming up to you all that much, Captain. Don't kitty face me about that. Well then, would you tell me your name, Missy? Ri. Huh? Yuri. The girl only gave her first name. Yuri, huh? Oh, that's a cute name. Nice to meet you. Yuri. Something about that name bugged Watase. Feels like I've heard that name somewhere before. But no matter how much he studied her face or searched his memories, he couldn't remember anything solid. So he decided to give up and turned his attention back to Kazumi. Okay then, now that we're done introducing ourselves, could you please explain what's going now? What's going now? Roger that. Then let me explain this facility first. Kazumi then quietly began to speak. We're in a nuclear research facility, located on the outskirts of a city known as Rokume City. Could you be a bit more specific on that first part? Okay, I was right. Concentric circles. The place doesn't appear to be that big. Okay, so there are 6 buildings on the interior and 6 buildings on the exterior, arranged in 2 concentric circles, and there's a reactor in the center. Plus, there are all sorts of underground portions to this facility. Because this is just the overground part. I don't know the details, but it more or less seems to be a facility for conducting research related to nuclear power. The facility's name is the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization, known as LABO for short. Nintendo copyright infringement. It's a facility with 2 floors and 2 underground floors, with the latter housing a nuclear reactor used for research purposes. But at 6:19 a.m. earlier today, that's September 16th, 2030 to be exact, explosions of unknown origins occurred in the basement levels. Fires broke out all over the place at the same time, and part of the facility's control system malfunctioned as a result. There were concerns about the possibility that the nuclear reactor's cooling functions would malfunction as well and cause a meltdown if things kept going the way they did. And they did! So they sent a rescue request to Sirius, since we're trained to handle these kinds of disasters. We then arrived on the scene at 6:26 a.m. and commenced our search for those still trapped. Watase looked at the sturdy watch around his wrist. One sec, guys. Oh, I've only got 3 allergy pills left. Oh, no, wait, I bought some last month. I just haven't taken any for a while. You can press H to get a list of the keyboard shortcuts? Oh, okay. I think I'll just click the screen, though. But control is skip. Good to know. Watase looked at the sturdy watch around his wrist. Its digital display read 9:27 a.m. So that was about 3 hours ago, huh? When we got here, we split into 2 teams of 5, Teams A and B. We're Team A. Where are the other two members of Team A? You set up a command post on the first floor and commanded Team A from there. Team A was split into two two-man cells, me and Moribe, and two other workers named Dojima and Hiyama. But after that, we lost contact with the Dojima Hiyama party. We then lost contact with you. This was around 6:35 a.m. What happened? The three of you might have gone down to the basement floors at that time. Reception's really bad down here, so our radios are nearly useless in that sort of situation. I see, but why'd we go down to the basement to begin with? It's possible that you went to rescue survivors. According to members of Labo's staff, the basement floors had already been evacuated, and the only survivors still there were trapped in the above-ground floors, but while we were saving them, we found out there were survivors in the basement too. So the lieutenant and I headed there. But the fires down there were much worse than we'd expected, so we got stuck for a while. By the time we could move again, we'd lost sight of the survivors. It was then that we set up a makeshift base on floor B2 and resumed our rescue activities once again. Then, right after that, around 7:15 a.m., a most ominous announcement about a Case N was broadcast throughout the entire facility. A Case N? What's that? Given the nature of this facility, it's probably short for nuclear, the chamber at the center of the building. We've got something in the rescue world we call an N disaster. In that case, N refers to a nuclear-induced disaster. Nuclear, huh? So you're saying that warning was something nuclear-related. Okay, I have to choose between Kazumi and Yuri. Let's lower Yuri a bit and raise Kazumi. Yes, we believe that a meltdown occurred in the reactor area at that time. We checked our procyons right after the announcement and discovered that the radiation levels had grown abnormally high. So we're pretty confident in our theory. So, Yuri had been hiding there for 2 hours without radiation meds. So basically, this Case N thing is probably slang for meltdown. By the time they'd finished explaining, the group had arrived in Area 2. Will that end up being the case, or will N stand for something else? But then why would they lock down everything? Well, they also said that this was a biological research facility, so there's probably a released bioweapon. And they've all caught the super flu. So what about the exit? Isn't it too dangerous for us to be here for too long? We agree, it's just... The staircase leading to the surface is here in Area 2, but... Kazumi and Jun paused, then looked down the hall. Standing there was a door with a plate that read, Emergency Staircase. What's wrong? Is there a problem with it or something? I think you'll understand much quicker if you see it for yourself. You could just say yes. Huh? Kazumi paid no heed to Watase's confusion and opened the door instead. The group ascended the dark staircase. And once he saw what was there, Watase couldn't help but gasp. What the hell is this? An iron wall was lying just a short distance away from the top of the stairs. And there you have it. What do you mean, there you have it? The truth of the matter is that all exits to the surface are currently blocked off by this bulkhead. Meaning, we're trapped down here in Labo's basement floors. Trapped? Why? I don't know. That said, the PA did say that they were locking down all bulkheads leading to the surface at the same time it announced the Case N. So there's probably no way out. You can't be serious. Can't you just contact someone on the outside and ask them to open it up? We can't get in touch with them. All the landline phones here are dead, and the radio was working good enough at first. But then reception kept getting worse and worse for some reason, and now our chances of reaching them are pretty much zilch. What? Then can't we just break it or force it? Look at that, Wanase. Do you really think you could bust that down? Wanase tried pounding his fists on the bulkhead, unfortunately not reusing the zero escape sound effect. But it didn't budge an inch. God damn it! Open up, you piece of shit! But no matter how hard he punched, kicked, or pushed it, nothing changed. It didn't look like something that could be dealt with human hands alone. Looks like we can't do anything to it without any explosives or something. Hate to break it to you, but we don't have any. We can't destroy it with the equipment we have on hand. Though it's annoying to admit, this bulkhead has completely split the basement and surface apart. Wanase finally understood the situation when he heard Kazumi and June's comments. But it was a hard pill to swallow. Isn't there any possible way out of here? Negative. We've tried all sorts of things ourselves in the 2 hours we've been trapped here, but nothing worked. We can't go through the air ducts, all the elevators are out of order, and we can't break the ceiling. What's worse, this facility is supposed to have this flawless sprinkler system, but it's not working for some reason. So we don't just have fires breaking out all over the place, but we've got no way to find out where they're coming from. What the hell? Then we're in real deep shit now, aren't we? We're all full of radiation, there's fire everywhere, and we can't even get outside? Why the hell is this? Please, calm down. Having a rescue captain lose his cool will only make matters worse. She's right, Captain. Can't you see that all you're doing is scaring poor Yuri to death? With realization hitting him in full force, Wanase looked at Yuri. She was hiding behind June and looking at him with trembling eyes. I'm sorry. Kazumi and June were right. He couldn't show such disgraceful behavior in front of a frail girl like Yuri. Regardless of his amnesia, Wanase had most likely come down to the basement floors in order to rescue people. But at that moment, he was hit by a sudden question. Oh, come to think of it, what were you doing here in Labo, Yuri? Just then, a tearful look appeared on Yuri's face for some reason. What's wrong? I'm family to one of the people who work here. Oh, so you wear this outfit for fun, then? And so I happen to get caught up in all this by bad luck. I'm not sure I trust you, actually. I see. That's a disaster for you. Wanase turned to his thoughts as he kept looking at Yuri. It really has been a disaster for all of us. I really wish we could all get out of here. But he knew it wasn't that simple. In the first place, there was still way too much that he didn't know about his current situation. Why wouldn't the bulkhead open up? Why wasn't the sprinkler system working? Why had he lost his memories and... Say, Tachibana, what's our next move? I'd like to explain that to you in detail. More detail, more explanations, hit me! We've got a simple makeshift base set up nearby, so let's head there first. They had no choice but to go along with what she said. And so the group's shoulders slumped as they proceeded down the staircase. What happened recently, I had to look away from stream for a minute. In the words of Brian Irons, it's all over now. Doors locked. Once they had left the staircase behind them, Kazumi walked towards a nearby room and began talking. This is our makeshift base. Whenever you want to enter a room, all you have to do is press this button here, and the door will open right up. Kazumi pressed a button next to the door, causing it to open up, just as she'd said it would. Really had to fill the word count, didn't you? On the other side was a small office about 9 meters long. Completely wrecked. Various pieces of machinery, apparently the equipment that Kazumi and June had brought with them, were lying in a corner. Really? I don't see them. I'll explain the structure of Lamo to you first, Captain. Please, come over here. Yeah, much appreciated. Kazumi took a pen from the desk and drew a simple map on the back of a piece of paper. This round area located in the center is a special advanced experiment area where the supposedly melted down nuclear reactor is located. It's known as Area N. Area N is surrounded by 6 other areas. Each area has an inner ring and an outer ring, with the former being slightly smaller than the latter. Furthermore, each area has 4 floors in total, 2 surface floors and 2 basement floors. However, as I informed you earlier, all the entrances and exits that lead to the surface are blocked by bulkheads. I see, meaning we can only access floors B1 and B2. So, where are we now? Right here. Floor B2 in Area 2's inner ring. We found you lying right around here in the inner ring of Area 1. Moribe and I conducted a search of Areas 1 and 2 in the 2 hours since the bulkheads came down, but we were unable to find any other survivors apart from you and Miss Yuri, and, naturally, the same goes for any escape routes. Are the areas really big enough that it took you 2 hours to search them, and you couldn't make it through any of the other areas? Both areas have an emergency... Okay, well, if it's the inner and outer rings, that makes sense. Both areas have an emergency staircase that leads to the surface, but we've confirmed that they've all been sealed off by bulkheads. And with the exception of one located in Area 2's inner ring, all of the staircases have collapsed due to the explosions. So what you're saying is that we'll have to go to Area 3 next if we hope to possibly find any more survivors or other ways out of here. No, we can't do that either. Why not? All passageways connecting to other areas have security gates set up in them. Remember how there was a gate blocking the connecting passageway to this area on our way here? Now that you mention it, yeah, I do. Well, how'd you get it open then? Those gates are locked, and to open them, you'll need a security card like this one. Kazumi took a card out of her pocket at those words. I found this card lying in a passageway by chance shortly after we began searching. It was a small plastic card that had a lanyard attached to it, so it could be worn around the neck. On the front was the mugshot and name of a man who appeared to work at the facility, and the words Level 2. Level 2? It appears that this lab has different security levels that correspond to each area's confidentiality level. There are 2 kinds of gates, ones in the passageways that connect the inner and outer rings, and ones in the passageways that connect each area. With a Level 2 card, you can open all gates up to Area 2, but you'll need a card whose security level corresponds to the appropriate area to get into them, a Level 3 card for Area 3, a Level 4 card for Area 4, and so on. Why? What were we expected to do? Oh wait, no, the whole place opened up at the start until the N event. So we were expected to be able to make our way through all of these areas rescuing people. And then the N event happened and everything locked down. But all we have right now is a Level 2 card. Excuse me. Then we can't go any farther. Hey Yuri, have you got a Level 3 card? Well, if we find the right card, it'll be possible for us to get into other areas, of course, but we've searched the place from head to toe. That's the only card we found, you see. Guess the only place we haven't looked is your pockets. Worth a check. Yeah, right. Like I'm going to find a level 3 card just conveniently sitting around in my pockets. I'll bet you will. In spite of that thought, Watase decided to search through his pockets and... I found one. Huh? Impossible. No, I'm totally serious. Take a look. Holds out a Krusty Krab ID card. Oh, hey, it's that guy. Watase took 2 cards out of his breast pocket. They read Keiji Ukita and Zenshu Kake, and they both said level 4. Level 4? Holy crap, now we can get all the way into Area 4 with this baby. But why do you have a level 4? No, make that 2 level 4 cards, Captain. Beats me. Thinking there might be more clues in them, Watase checked his other pockets and found another strange item in his other breast pocket. What's this? PDA. Oh, it's a touchscreen PDA. It is 2030. An official Sirius PDA. I have one as well. What's a public display of affection? A portable terminal. Nowadays, you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't have one of these. Rescue workers and civilians alike. When did touchscreen smartphones really become a thing? Wasn't it like 2014 or whatever? So this was still sci-fi at the point this game was made. Also, this game is old enough that they were called PDAs still. As for its functions, it has a built-in phone and radio, plus an infrared thermography, or IRT, function that allows you to detect heat sources. How do you use it? It's a touchpad, so all you have to do is press this part of the screen here. Watase tried tapping the screen as he listened to Kazumi's instructions. Why do you have 2 cold spots in your torso, June? When he did, the screen filled with the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. So that means anything that's red is carrying heat? It may be simple, but it can be very handy in the right situation. I see. And you can carry around data with that thing too, of course. Oh yeah, is there any data in yours? Let me check. Watase tried just pressing anything that looked potentially helpful. But it didn't look like he'd be able to access any of the data folders. They were all locked with a password. Oh, great. It needs a password. Any idea what it might be? That's a negative, obviously. Oh, by the way, the phone doesn't work down here, and the radio's pretty much useless right now. Yeah, I remember you telling me that before. Despite that, Watase decided to try and use the phone function. He first attempted to call Dojima, the co-worker that Kazumi had mentioned earlier. But all he heard was the sound of a dead dial tone. He next tried to use the radio function to contact Hiyama, his other co-worker. But all he heard this time was static. Okay, so one of these is interference and one of them is a dead line. So Hiyama has interference between... Like, there's a connection, but the interference is preventing anything but static. But Dojima is disconnected. The number is no longer in service. So Dojima's PDA is probably destroyed. And or Dojima's dead. It was the same with every other number and frequency he tried to contact. Damn it, this piece of junk's worth crap right now. If I could only figure out the password, then I might be able to find some clues. Why don't you try typing in whatever comes to mind? It was right then that Yuri timidly spoke up. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Huh? Why not? That PDA is important to you, so you'd be in a lot of trouble if you broke it by accident. Oh, I don't trust you. Yeah, good point. Want to say put the PDA away. It's just typing in passwords. How can it break it? It's not like we're typing in Engage Ridley, motherfucker. By the way, guys, what's all that gear you brought here do? Ah, you forgot that too, huh? Well, time's short, so I'll have to give you an abridged explanation. Thanks. Sorry to make you do this. June nodded and pointed to the equipment lying in the corner. First off, this is AD. Pretty sure you're familiar with it by now. Just to recap, it's a drug that protects your body from radiation for an hour. So, this is all that's been keeping us alive now, huh? Yep, with the ones they gave us and what we found lying around, we've got a total of 7 doses. We're going to have to ration those carefully. Huh? What exactly do you mean by the ones we found lying around? Seems that there's a bunch of boxes full of AD in this place that were stashed away in case of an emergency. Unfortunately, it looks like most of the stockpile in areas 1 and 2 went up in flames. Well, we've got areas 3 and 4 to look through now. So there's 7 ampules for the 4 of us, which means that we'll only last for 2 more hours at this rate. It'd sure make things easier if we found more, wouldn't it? So we'll keep our eyes peeled for more as we go. Next up is Procyon, our radiation counter. It's basically the latest model of Geiger counters. This little sucker can measure and quantify radiation levels up to 15,000 MSV. The Procyon and AD were given to use by Labo's staff. They've both been a real big help, to say the least. Yeah, they really are handy. It's almost like the staff gave them to us knowing what was to come. Hey, quit staring off into space. I'm moving on to the next item. This thing's an air tank, standard equipment for our squad. But all our faceplates are damaged, so it's not much good to us now. I see. That's too bad. It looked really important too. Okay, how did you guys' suits get destroyed? This is an air jack. It's a powerful jack that you combine with the air tank to create compressed air that you can use to move heavy objects. So you use it with the air tank. I mean, I'm guessing you can only use it a limited amount of times, but still. With the faceplates damaged, that's the only use it has. Now then, we have the engine cutter. Ooh. Circular saw. Getting Resident Evil 7 flashbacks. Its electric engine is powered by a strong internal battery. This baby and her artificial diamond blade can slice through iron and pretty anything else like it was butter. Could you not get so excited about it? The look in your eyes is scaring me. I get that a lot. And last but not least, have a 10-meter long rope. I think that's everything. Can you remember all that, Captain? Well, I can from your description. Yeah, no problem. Incidentally, we also had 2 radiation protection suits, but they got damaged while we were putting out fires, so we can't use them anymore. Kazumi pointed to 2 ragged objects. Both protection suits had cracked faceplates. They were fine pieces of equipment with excellent fire and water resistance, airtight, and even allowed you to connect an air tank directly to their face pieces. But since they're damaged now, the air tank's no longer useful. Cutting tool will be useful against the gun zombie, yeah. That's too bad. But wait a sec. Captain, weren't you wearing a protective suit too? What happened to it? He doesn't know, June. Huh? Oh. Maybe I took it off because it was hard to move in or something? Impossible. We were all required to wear the protective suits to carry out our rescue activities in this facility from the start. I see. But sorry, I don't know why. That's another thing you can chalk up to my amnesia. Not only had he had 2 security cards on him, but he also hadn't been wearing his protective suit. There were just too many mysteries about Watase's actions before he lost his memories. Seriously, what in the world was I doing in the basement floors? There was probably no one out there who could answer that question. Watase then spoke with a sigh. By the way, what are you guys planning to do now? Well, now that we have level 4 cards, I believe that we should be able to greatly expand our search area. However, what about you, Captain? Maybe it'd be better for you to rest? Seeing as how you haven't remembered anything yet, I'm inclined to agree. Yeah, maybe you're right. Just as Watase was about to take them up on their offer, he locked eyes with Yuri. She still had fear in her eyes. He remembered the voice that he'd heard back when they'd rescued her. Don't stop! Save her! He suddenly began wondering if it was really okay for him to just sit around in this room. Is saving Yuri and simply leaving it at that all right? No. With his mind made up, Watase called out to Kazumi and June. Wait, let me help out with rescuing any other survivors. Huh? But you sure you'll be okay, Captain? It's true that I don't remember all that much, and that I might just be a burden in your eyes. But that doesn't change that I'm still a rescue worker, right? So I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I just sat on the sidelines while you're all still hard at work. Watase was stirred on by an almost impulsive sense of duty. Kazumi's eyes widened. She then gave a wry smile. Sheesh, some things just never change. Her face then suddenly grew serious again. Captain, normally I would not recommend that you come with us, what with the cause of your amnesia still unknown. But taking into consideration the fact that there are still fires out there, and that we need to keep injecting you with AD, perhaps letting you come with us would be the safest course of action. We gotta make sure we keep the AD on us, instead of having to come back here to inject it. Alright, then. However, okay. Self-preservation instinct is coming into play. Okay, what do I want to do here? I'm going to leave my self-preservation instinct the way it is. And we'll leave our dating sim values with Kazumi and June the way they are as well. This is no ordinary mission. So, if you want to stay with us as a rescue worker, then you must be prepared to accept the responsibilities and duties that come with it. You will be treated as a new recruit until you regain your memory. I ask that you follow my orders just as Moribe does. I know this is a severe violation of my station, but trust me when I say your life could be in grave danger if you don't do as I say. Please, try to understand. Watase felt overpowered by Kazumi's words. Yeah, roger that, which is the right thing to say in this situation. But he fired himself up by answering loud and clear. June shrugged her shoulders when she saw that. Wow, this sure is an interesting turn of events, huh? Then I guess that makes us equals for now, even if it's just temporary. So let's get along, okay? You're right. I'm looking forward to working with you too. Then let's be patient for the time being. After all, once you get your memories back, you should go back to being the captain we all know and admire. Yeah, that's something we're looking forward to. I see. His old self must have been someone amazing if Kazumi and June were counting on him so much. So I have to live up to their expectations as soon as possible. With that thought in mind, Watase turned to Yuri. What about you, Yuri? Do you want to rest here? A look of hesitation briefly flashed by Yuri's face after she heard that question, but she answered quickly. No, I'll go with you. She'd probably realized just how grim the situation was after listening to the group's conversation. I'd feel better if she were with us too. Kazumi spoke up as that thought crossed Watase's mind. Then it's settled. The four of us will head for Area 3 next. Then let's decide what equipment to take with us. You help out too, Captain. Yeah, on it. And so the group quickly decided on their gear. First, they took all 7 AD, splitting them up amongst Watame, Kazumi, and June. Watase and June each took 1 Procyon. Meanwhile, Watase and Kazumi split the level 4 cards amongst themselves. Watase also took the 10-meter rope, wrapping it around his upper body in an X shape. Perhaps they were too lightly equipped, but they decided that mobility took precedence above all else. We are absolutely going to regret leaving the air canister and the jack behind, aren't we? Is everyone ready? Whatever you are. Yes. Then let's go. Don't slow us down, Captain. Roger that. I'll give it all I've got. I don't know what I can do in my condition, but I'll still do my best. Watase swore to that, then left the makeshift base alongside Kazumi and the others. Autosaved. Okay. Alright. I'm going to save, and I will be right back. I'm going to be taking breaks more frequently today, at least until my sinus swelling goes down, just to get past the pressure. So, I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, back. Let's continue. The group headed for Area 3 as quickly as they could. One of the security gates that Kazumi had mentioned earlier came into view when they approached the connecting passageway. Kazumi pointed to a terminal next to the gate. This is a card slot. Just swipe the right card in here and the gate will open. You'll need a card every time you pass through a gate, even if you've already opened it once before. Okay, I'll give it a shot. Opens it up, heat blasts out and incinerates all of them instantly. He looked at June as he said this. She then pulled out her Procyon and stared hard at it. What are you doing? I need to check the radiation levels before we go into an area we haven't searched yet. Remember, everything past this point is uncharted territory for us. Kazumi and June's faces were dead serious. Watase took the card out as nervousness took hold of him and swiped it through the slot. The gate opened with a loud sound. Watase and June both studied their Procyons carefully. The number was 1,285 MSV, slightly higher than the reading they'd gotten at Area 1 earlier. Okay, it's within safety standards. It most certainly is not, June. What's that mean? It means it's contaminated, but still relatively safe. The safety standard is within 4,000 MSV. Well, that's going to come into play later. In other words, there's no danger of radiation contamination there, so long as we've injected ourselves with AD. The first danger standard is 4,000 to 8,000 MSV. This refers to an area we don't want to stay in for long, even with AD. The second danger standard is over 8,000 MSV, meaning that our lives are at great risk there, even with AD. So basically, if we have AD, we'll be okay if the reading's within 4,000 MSV. If it's over 4,000 MSV, then it's a bit dangerous even if we have AD. And if it's over 8,000 MSV, it's likely we'll die even with AD. Did I get all that right? Yes, you repeated exactly what she said over again. Yes, the Procyon will beep if we're in a contaminated zone that exceeds the danger standard. If you hear it beeping by any chance, then please get out of there ASAP. Yeah, got it. The group passed through the gate as they talked. The further they walked down the connecting passageway, the worse the damage got. The walls had been burned to hell and back, and the ceiling was damaged too. Holy crap! It would appear that there were explosions here too. And then, just when they'd finished rounding a corner, the whole group gasped. She's stuck in an air vent. There was a woman dangling upside down from the ceiling. Ugh, ugh. It looked like she was sticking her lower torso into the air duct. It kind of looks like she's pulling herself out of the air duct. What in the world? Well, that's not something you see every day. As Kazumi and June stared in utter disbelief, the woman's eyes widened with shock. Who's there? We're rescue workers, ma'am. Rescue workers? Perfect timing. I'm stuck. Mind pulling me out? Okay. Moribe, stand right below the air duct. Make sure she doesn't land head first. Roger. Okay then. Ready? Set? The rescue squad then frantically pulled the woman's body and safely rescued her. Whew! You saved me! The woman, now standing upright on the floor, said this with a bit of embarrassment in her voice. It seemed that she was also a survivor. But what were you doing? Me? Well, you see, the woman pointed to the air duct on the ceiling. The gates suddenly shut for some reason, and I got stuck in this passageway, So I tried to use the air ducts to get out of... How did you get up there? Can you fly? How did you get to the ceiling like that? I somehow managed to climb all the way up there by using a cable dangling from the ceiling, but I moved around the air duct only to nearly slide out, and, well, you know the rest. Is that a drop of blood on her shirt? You went through a lot, that's for sure. You can't get out through those air ducts. Really? Yes, I checked it myself, but there's some sort of machine set up in the ducts. There's no way to pass through the section that leads to the surface. Oh my, that's a shame. Well, I wasn't trying to get to the surface anyway, just out of this passageway. The woman said that calmly. Don't tell me, she doesn't know what's going on right now. With that thought weighing on his mind, Watase faced the woman and called out. Do you work for this place? No, I'm a high school teacher at Rokume Academy. What are you doing here in a secure area if you're just a high school teacher? My stepdad had a teacher who worked on the Manhattan Project in high school. Is this like that? Rokume Academy? Huh, you've never heard of it? It's the specialty school in the city limits. Now that he thought about it, her smartly dressed attire was befitting of a teacher. But it was covered in soot, just like the rest of the group. She'd probably been through the ringer. So anyway, you guys are rescue workers, right? Then could you get me out of this place? She looked at Watase with eyes full of expectation. But all he could do was answer her with a bit of guilt in his heart. About that. The woman's face grew more and more pale the further he explained about their current predicament. It only got worse when he told her that the phones and radios were down and the elevators weren't working. But it wasn't until she heard the part about how there was no way to the surface that she finally started shouting desperately. No way! What do you mean the bulkheads are shut? We can't figure out why it happened either. Then why don't you just destroy the damn thing with some sort of special equipment or something? Well, all the specialized equipment is on the other side of the bulkhead, asshole. We've tried everything we can, but not even our engine cutter could make a dent in that thing. We can't destroy the bulkhead with any of the equipment we have on hand. Never thought a rescue squad would be this useless. It's true that we can't destroy it with our equipment, but you're equipped with ballistics. How about you? But the workers on the surface should have explosives with them. So, it's only a matter of time before that bulkhead is destroyed and reinforcements come. So please, try to understand for now. I see, but I guess there's nothing you can do about it. The woman let out an exasperated sigh. Now wait just a minute, lady. Kazumi held back June as the latter snarled angrily. More importantly, we need to give her some AD. Oh, you're right. She'll be in big trouble without it. AD? What's that? Well, you see, it's... Kazumi explained AD to the woman. She also told her about the radiation filling the facility, the danger standards, and the Procyon. Okay, Yuri might have had a dose of AD before we got to her, but this woman definitely hasn't. She should be dead. She should be dead like an hour ago. Her hair should be falling out. The woman's attitude took a complete 180 after she'd heard all that. Radiation? That's correct. Furthermore, subjective symptoms of radiation damage easily appear in the internal organs, skin, and eyes. Are you experiencing any nausea, skin pain, or blurry vision? No, I think I'm feeling okay. Good. You'll be fine as long as we give you some AD now. But you'd better do it quick, you hear? If you don't, then you won't be around to keep telling us off like that. Okay, then all I have to do is inject myself with this. You've got a nice hole in your jacket that you can use. Righto, now that's better. June held the AD out to the woman. She proceeded to quickly inject herself with it. So I'll be okay now, right? She was now a lot calmer and quieter, showing no signs of the hysterical woman that had been yelling at them just a few minutes ago. It seemed she finally understood the situation she was in. Whew! By the way, what's your name? Anna Tsubakiyama. And you guys? The group promptly answered Anna's question. I'm Lieutenant Tachibana. This is Ensign Moribe. And this girl is Yuri, a civilian we found trapped down here. A civilian? So there's someone besides me who was caught up in this incident? Yes. Yuri gave this timid answer, then followed up with a question of her own. Why are you here, Professor Tsubakiyama? Yuri politely referred to Anna as Professor. Anna appeared to be used to being called that, as she answered Yuri's question without the slightest hint of awkwardness. Me? I was summoned here by one of the staff who work here. But then this explosion came out of nowhere, and next thing I know, everyone's panicking. It was so crazy that before I knew it, I was stuck here. Summoned here by one of the staff? Why were you summoned here by the staff of a nuclear research facility? Huh. What do you teach? What is your subject of expertise, Anna? Talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Hey, why are you acting like it's not your problem? You're a rescue worker, so aren't you supposed to be nicer to the people you save? Okay. I don't trust her. So I'm going to leave her dating sim value at 50%. Really? Anna glared at Watase. Well, we're at it. You're the only one whose name I haven't heard yet. Who are you? Oh, I'm Watase Kasasagi. I'm this squad's captain, sorta. So you're the captain. You're not exactly instilling much confidence with that whole sorta business. Please don't be so harsh. I get that you're not happy about being stuck in this situation, but still. See, there you go again, acting like this isn't your problem. Watase winced and shut his mouth as Anna nagged him again. But still, isn't it a bit odd for a high school teacher to be in a place like this? Watase quietly stared at Anna's face. What is it, Captain Kasasagi? Have I got something on my face? Yeah, flecks of blood and soot. Oh no, nothing like that, really. Kazumi spoke up as Watase awkwardly tried to cover up for himself. Now then, let's press onwards. There might be other survivors. The group started walking again at that suggestion. There was a security gate at the end of the passageway, but a swipe of the security card quickly took care of it. And with that, the group of 5 entered Area 3. Area 3, Inner Ring, B2. This area was considerably different from all the other floors. The walls were made of unfaced concrete, and the ceiling's steel frame and cables were completely exposed. Watase checked his Procyon to find that the display read 1381 MSV. Good, looks like this place is safe too. Safe, huh? Normally we'd be dead at this level of radiation. Yeah, why aren't you? Like we said, we'll be fine as long as we have AD. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there were any fires in this area. But the moment June said that... Impossible. Why were they... The group heard a voice coming from somewhere. It looks like someone's here. Yeah. Watase thought he heard the voice coming from the room right in front of him. The door was labeled Surveillance Room. Ooh! Hey, is someone in there? A voice filled with surprise echoed in reply to Watase's unconscious shouts. What? That voice! Is that you, Captain Kasasagi? Why is Captain Kasasagi in quotation marks? What? You know who I am? How can I not know you? I'm your husband! Someone was talking to him from the other side of the door. However, Watase didn't recognize the speaker's voice. Who is it? Watase timidly opened the door. This is a useful room. Standing on the other side was a man in a lab coat. Hey, it's this guy, Captain Kasasagi. So you're back? Kazumi and June's eyes simultaneously widened as soon as they heard the man's voice. Huh, Mr. Ukita? What are you doing here, old man? You're all here too? The man named Ukita said this with bewilderment. Wait a sec, you guys all know each other? Yes, we saved this man when he got into a car accident just last week. Oh, well that's convenient. Don't tell me you got into another accident this week, Mr. Ukita. Yes, never in my wildest dreams would I have predicted such misfortune befalling me. A bitter look appeared on Ukita's face as he said that. I don't really know the circumstances, but anyone would be bitter over having luck this bad 2 weeks in a row. He looks old yet weirdly young. Welcome to anime! And if Kazumi and June had saved him once before, then it made sense that he knew them all. Excuse me. I see. By the way, were you not able to evacuate in time or something? What preposterous game are you trying to pull here? You were the one who locked me in this area. Ooh, okay. Huh? Watase froze in confusion at the angry look that had suddenly appeared on the man's face. Hold on a second. Could you explain the details? Shouldn't you know that better than anyone else here? Well, you see, the truth is, it looks like I hit my head really hard a little while back. And thanks to that, I can barely remember anything. Barely remember anything? Are you serious? Ukita wasn't the only one to react to Watase's explanation. Whoa, hold on, I didn't hear any of this. Are you saying you have amnesia? Is that thing even possible outside the movies? Well, I understand why you two can't believe it, but it's true. The kind of long-term amnesia that you see in movies is extremely rare, but short-term amnesia, where memories become hazy, well, not exactly common, is still possible. Kazumi came to Watase's defense at the perfect time. Ukita spent a long moment looking doubtfully at Watase, but eventually came to a decision and spoke. Very well, then I'll believe you, for now. Thank you. And you are? Oh, I'm Keiji Ukita. As you can see, I'm a researcher at this lab. Keiji Ukita? That name sounded familiar to Watase. He thought his memories were coming back for a moment, but that wasn't the case. It's on the card, Watase. For he'd seen the words Keiji Ukita after he'd woken up. It was the name that had been written on one of the cards he'd found earlier. Then this is your card. Ah, so you really did have it. Ukita swiped the card out of Watase's hands. Hey, Mr. Ukita, why did I steal your card from you? A bit of an odd question, but I suppose it can't be helped. Now then, how to explain this? I'm the gun zombie. Ukita thought for a bit before he began to talk. While all my colleagues were evacuating, I tried to take charge of the situation. Felt it was my duty as one of the people who worked here, you see. But it didn't go so well. as a case N was declared during all the chaos. Tell us what a case N is. It was at that moment, while I was paralyzed in shock, that I met you, Captain Kasasagi. This was about 2 hours ago. Did the captain say anything back then? He said, I'll go look for an exit, but the fires are getting worse and it's too dangerous, so wait for me in this room. But I refused to listen to him. I panicked and flew into a frenzy. That's why Captain Kasasagi took my card from me, so that I couldn't move on my own. Well, I'm sure he only did it to keep me safe, but I detest how I was given no choice in the matter. That's why I was angry. Oh boy, sounds like you came face to face with the captain's uncompromising side. So that's what happened. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I was probably planning on coming right back, but... No, it's all right. By the way, who are those two? Ukita glanced at Enna and Yuri as he asked this. I'm Enna Tsubakiyama. I'm a high school teacher who was called to this facility. I'm Yuri. I'm family to one of Labo's researchers. So a teacher and a family member, huh? But that sure is bizarre. Is she dressed like a teacher? Maybe she's an administrator here. This facility's security is top-notch, so no one should have been able to even get into the basement floors. Really? Then how did the two of you explain yourselves? Enna grew exasperated at the rest of the group's confusion. Believe me, that's what I'd like to ask these guys. Even I don't know why they called for me so early in the morning. I was brought down here by a real jerk of an employee. Then there was the explosion, and I ended up trapped here in all the confusion. Which employee? I think he said his name was Mr. Nojima or something like that. He told me to wait right where I was, and then went running off somewhere as fast as he could. I swear, it's like a bad joke. Yes, it was like that for me too. Type reformer. I think Ukita's story checks out. The way he reacted to me showing up, and the fact that he was trapped in here, makes me think he's telling the truth. So I'm going to raise my dating sim value with him. Probably up to here. I came to visit this place late last night. They told me to spend the night down here in the basement floors. That's suspicious. And when I woke up, all this happened. My mom wasn't there either, and I got scared. Hey, then that makes us both victims who got caught up in this mess, doesn't it? You have no right to pry into our affairs. I see. My apologies. Ukita seemed to be pondering something as he said that. What's wrong, Mr. Ukita? Is something bothering you? Well, yes, these two are bothering him. Oh, no, nothing really. Oh, come on. If you've got something to say, then just spit it out already. I'm telling you, it's nothing. It looked like an argument was about to break out, but Watase quickly stepped in. Come on now, don't be so hard on him, Teach. Oh, she's not going to like being addressed like that. Huh. By the way, have you taken any AD, Mr. Ukita? Oh, the AD. I took the ones that Captain Kasasagi gave me, but I've used them all up at this point. The last time I took any was nearly an hour ago. As expected, a researcher like Ukita knew all about AD. Then use this. Watase handed Ukita an AD. The latter practically snatched it out of his hands and injected himself with it. We're getting short on these things. Yeah, there's only one left, I think. No, wait. We fed one to Enna and we fed one to Ukita, so now there are 5 left. I was counting our number as if we'd taken some of the set of 7. Ukita threw aside the empty AD ampule as anxiety began worming its way into Watase's mind. More importantly, would all you rescue workers here please take a look at these monitors for a minute? Huh? I was perusing through the surveillance camera records to get a grasp of the situation when I happened upon an image that concerned me. Now that you mention it, I do recall that you were talking to yourself just before we found you. So what's this image that's got you all hot and bothered? This image was taken in Area 2 at 6:21 a.m. Ukita operated the control panel. A second later, the monitor displayed an image taken by the surveillance cameras. Is it me versus the gun zombie? Oh, hello. The frozen image depicted 3 children. There was a boy with glasses and a blonde girl. They couldn't make out the face of the last one, but it appeared to be a girl as well. They were all wearing what appeared to be school uniforms. It was then that Enna and June both spoke at the same time. It can't be. Why are Mr. Tenkawa and the others here? Huh? Then those two are Mashiro and Luis? Huh? The two of you know them? Of course I do. I'm the long-term sub for their homeroom teacher. I just happened to get to know those kids last week. What? Watase's surprise only furthered with Ukita's following comment. Truth is, I'm familiar with those kids myself. How so? Well, not only do I live next door to that boy, but his mother happens to be one of my co-workers here. That's how. Then did they come to see his mother? Sorry, but I don't know the answer to that either. Anyway, there are several other images just like this one, and the last one. So is that third child Slendermaning the camera feed, or is there another reason why they're concealing her identity? Oh shoot! Oh, I dropped the cap to my water. Hang on. Was taken in Area 5 at 7:12 a.m. How'd they get to Area 5 then? When he heard that, Watase instantly understood what Ukita was getting at. Wait, if they were down here at 7:12 a.m., and the bulkheads were lowered at 7 a.m. Right, that means there are at least 3 others aside from us who are trapped here in Labo. What? Watase looked back to the image on the monitors. What were they doing here? Did they really come here to visit the boy's mother? Or was there some other reason? Hey, Teach, what are their names? The boy is Natsuhiko Tenkawa. The 2 girls are Mashiro Toba and Luis Yui Sanamiya. Luis, huh? It's an awfully Western name. All those names sounded vaguely familiar to him. He felt a kinship from them, like he'd known them all for a long time. Could it be my children? That I went down to the basement to save these kids? He turned to Ukita as he pondered that. Are you sure that those kids are still trapped here? Well, I certainly can't confirm that, but I'm pretty sure of it. Ukita pointed to a phone in the corner of the room. The emergency phone is dead, and my PDA isn't getting any reception. We tried those both ourselves, but it didn't work out either. Enna suddenly perked her head up when she heard that. I've got an idea. Can anyone here use Before Crisis? Oh, Before Crime. Duh. It's... Oh, BCAD! Huh. BC? Right, like telepathy. If we can use that to get in contact with the outside, then I think we can learn more about what's going on. Telepathy? Watase's eyes widened at that totally out-of-place word. Teach, how can you joke at a time like this? Oh my, I didn't realize your amnesia was that bad. So you forgot about that stuff too? People capable of using telepathy are not that uncommon these days. What? Are you serious? Watase looked at the others in total shock. But he was the only one surprised there. Hey, Tachibana, is what she's saying true? Yes, it is. The telepathy she's talking about is the ability to send your voice to people in a distant place. It's true that we'd probably be able to get in touch with people on the outside if we could use it. But though she said it's not rare, the rate of people who can use it is still only 1 in 500. That's a lot of telepaths! And though a lot of BC users are kids for some reason, adult BC users are as rare as a hen's teeth. Okay, so they're going through an X-Men or My Hero Academia style generational mutation where superpowers are starting to appear. Or at least telepathy is. Which is interesting. Naturally, that goes for you and the rest of our squad. You've probably guessed, but I can't use it either. What about you, Yuri? I can't do it. I'm bad at BC. Ah, but that means you can do it, you're just bad at it. Everyone had answered with a serious look on their faces. It was still hard for him to believe, but after seeing their reactions, it seemed Watase had no choice but to accept it as the truth. You're all serious? Then are there people who can use other superpowers? Like, teleportation, telekinesis, stuff like that? That's a fair question. Of course not. That stuff's purely in the realm of the occult. And telepathy isn't? Watase's right about that. BC is a power that's been scientifically proven. There's nothing super about it. BC stands for Beyond Communication, a form of communication that doesn't use language as an intermediary. It is essentially the ability to mutually communicate your ideas to people far away, nothing more and nothing less. It appeared that this BC had very limited uses, but even if what she said was true, well, yeah, it probably would be better if we could use telepathy or whatever. But I doubt we'd be so lucky to have anyone here who won the lottery on that whole 1 out of 500 deal. But those kids can use telepathy. Huh? Then we could contact the surface if they were here. If they were here, that is. Jeez, this is pathetic. Things would be so much easier if I could use it myself. Just then, Enna's words were cut off by the sudden sound of a voice and white noise echoing through the room. This is serious, Commander Murakami. Tachibana, do you read me? Over. What? The radio. It looks like it's finally getting transmissions from the surface again. Kazumi took out her PDA and spoke directly into it. Loud and clear. This is Lieutenant Tachibana of Sirius Team A. Tachibana, looks like we finally got the radio up and running again. But the reception's still extremely unstable. It could cut off at any moment for all we know. Then make your report as short as possible. Give me an update on your status. Roger. At the present, we are... Kazumi then told Commander Murakami everything that had transpired up until that point. About how they'd reunited with Watase and saved Yuri, Anna, and Ukita. It appeared she was keeping Watase's amnesia a secret for now. Once Kazumi had finished her report, Commander Murakami paused, then spoke again in a defeated voice. I see. So everyone in Team A really did go down to the basement. Then you're saying that neither Dojima nor Hiyama made it to the surface? No. It appears that the surface and basement have become completely separated. Kazumi listened calmly to Commander Murakami's solemn voice before speaking again. Incidentally, would you happen to know why the bulkheads have been lowered, sir? Truth is, there are still a lot of things we're unclear about ourselves up here, but I have to tell you something first. The nuclear reactor in the basement has undergone a meltdown. We know this for a fact. I knew it. Right after the explosions occurred, At 6:19 a.m., Labo's engineers began working on initiating an emergency shutdown of the reactor from the remote control room located in the surface floors. But after that, pretty much everything that could have gone wrong did. The short-term coolant suffered a circulation malfunction, the water pressure regulators broke down, the ventilation control system went offline, and so on. The engineers did all they could to prevent a meltdown, but unfortunately their desperate efforts were in vain. That's also what caused the bulkheads to lock. The radiation leakage prevention system activated when the meltdown occurred. The radiation leakage prevention system? Yeah, it's used to prevent the spread of radioactive material. Then can't you simply open the bulkheads for just a few seconds? Expectation filled the group's faces when they heard Kazumi's suggestion. However, it pains me to say this, but at the present, that's impossible. Impossible? Why is that? It seems that due to the meltdown, there's still a huge fire going on in Area N, which is where the reactor is located. The security system's gone haywire thanks to that, which means that we can no longer access it externally, in theory. It seems the system will stop going haywire if the fire quells down, but since Area N's automatic sprinkler system is already broken, we can't expect that the fire will be extinguished. So Labo's staffers are currently doing everything in their power to restore the system, but how long do they think that will take? 12 hours. About another 9 hours. 9 persons, 9 doors. Alright, so even if it's just the 6 of us, and we don't find the kids, we would need 54 AD doses. Everyone gasped at the words 9 hours. Don't joke like that. Please, destroy the bulkhead or open an escape route for us. I'm really sorry, Tachibana, but I can't do that. Why not? C4 should be enough to get the job done, right? Yeah, but then the radiation would escape. The floors and bulkheads dividing the surface and basement are made of 8-layered thick anti-heat and shock composite steel plates. C4 won't be enough for something like that. Those plates are designed to withstand steam and hydrogen explosions. We don't have anything nearly powerful enough. No way. The normally composed Kazumi was in total shock. We've got multiple survivors down with us. Are you sure there's nothing you can do? Oh, she's got a torn hole in her skirt, too, that's bloody. We're doing all we can, too, but it takes some time. Oh, wait. Chikoshi based the characters in Zero Escape on the Enneagram of Person... Wait, the Enneagram of Personality is a real thing? Nine personality types. Oh, that way they have titles in the Enneagram. We're doing all we can too, but it takes some time. Oh, wait. Suddenly, his voice started only coming through in bursts. Commander, I didn't catch all of that. Reception's unstable. No time. I have message from Labo's staff to you. The commander apparently realized that the transmission was reaching its limits as he started talking much faster without pausing. There's AD lying all around the facility for cases like this. Keep administering it to yourselves and stay away from contaminated zones where all the AD is. Just keep doing that and you'll make it for sure. His voice was full of grief and pain. Kazumi quietly listened to him with a bitter look on her face. Out to go to you, Tachibana. Support Kasasagi and Moribe as Commander, you're breaking up again. Hear me? The reception's going... Commander! Commander! Kazumi desperately called out to him, but the only reply she got was the cruel hiss of static from the radio. If I remember right, it even takes into account that during moments of peak and downs, the 9 personalities start resembling other ones. Oh, like Homestuck class specs. Kazumi grimly put her PDA away. The rest of the group, full of panic, all began speaking at the same time. Did he just say 9 hours? 9 persons? 9 doors? That's way too long. Why will it take that much time? And the reactor causing all of this is only a hand's reach away. Staying in an environment like that for 9 hours, it was an insane idea to all of them. And it didn't look like they could expect the reinforcements that Kazumi had been counting on. Not anytime soon, that is. Wanase then spoke with a cracked voice. Mr. Ukita. Yes? What the hell's this radiation leakage prevention system? It's because of that thing that we're stuck here. Why did something like that activate where there's still people down here? And what the hell's a meltdown anyway? Tell me, I'm the only one here who doesn't know just how bad it is. Are you sure you want to know? Ukita hesitantly looked around at everyone else, then sighed. There are probably several of you who don't know that, so perhaps it would be best to explain it. Alright, before this explanation, I will be right back, guys. Alright, back. There are probably several of you who don't know that, so perhaps it would be best to explain it. I'll warn you that this will be quite a simplified explanation, though. Is that alright? Yeah, please tell us. With those words as a signal, Ukita began to quietly explain. In short, a meltdown is a phenomenon where a nuclear reactor's core rises to exceptionally high temperatures, then proceeds to melt. Normally, the nuclear fuel burning in the reactor is constantly cooled to prevent something like this from happening. But when it's not cooled adequately, the heat becomes far too much for the reactor's heat-resistant properties to handle, and thus damages the reactor itself. And then the scorching hot fuel is released into the outside. I wonder if the room with the elephant's foot is the single most dangerous room on the planet. Because you get a lethal dose of radiation within seconds of being near that. And, like, you'll die in, like, 5 minutes if you step into that room unprotected. And being protected in that room just means you'll die in a few hours. Is that what's causing that large fire in Area N right now? The elephant's foot is a particular batch of radioactive material in Chernobyl that, from the meltdown, that is still melting and burning and chemically freaking out. So it's giving off insane amounts of radiation at all times. Is that what's causing the large fire in Area N right now? Yes, it's most likely that the immensely hot fuel set fire to nearby flammable objects. The melted fuel is around 3,000 degrees Celsius, so it'll burn anything it touches. And the fact that it's still burning means that it'll cause catastrophic damage, won't it? I believe that your assumption is correct. And with the automatic sprinkler system destroyed, it's possible that it's also causing explosions. What's more, it'll cause a steam explosion if it comes in contact with any water. Area N is now turning into a literal hell on Earth. Well, why do you want the sprinklers then if it'll just make it explode? Well, I guess it might be fire-retardant foam. Probably. A stiff smile rose to Ukita's face as he said all this. And though it goes without saying, nuclear fuel is radioactive. Which means that it scatters radiation all around it after escaping from the reactor. To give an example, I know, are you familiar with the Chernobyl nuclear disaster? No. The name didn't ring any bells to him. Ukita sighed and continued. Nobody else gonna weigh in? I guess Chernobyl would have been... God, when was that? 1982? I'm gonna look that up. When did Chernobyl happen? Chernobyl nuclear accident. 1986. So this would have been 44 years ago from these people's perspective. It's wild that it's barely older than me. (1986). The name didn't ring any bells to him. Ukita sighed and continued. It was one of the greatest nuclear crises in human history. It happened about half a century ago in Ukraine. A nuclear power plant's reactor melted down, causing a steam explosion. Up to 10 tons of radioactive material leaked out of the reactor chamber. It was the equivalent of 500 of the atomic bombs dropped in Hiroshima, causing enormous casualties. 3,000 power plant workers and firefighters who tried to contain the accident died. The casualties only kept on piling up afterwards. There's a lot. I won't go too much into it because my content is a safe place from the news, but it was mind-boggling how Russian soldiers acted when they took Chernobyl last year. It was like they didn't know what it was. It was like they had no idea what had happened there. They dug trenches in the radioactive death forest. It was insane how little they knew. Even to this day, we don't know exactly how many died, but the number is estimated to be in the hundreds of thousands. Wait, really? Did that many people die from radiation in the immediate vicinity? How close was the Chernobyl nuclear reactor to cities and stuff? How big is the uninhabitable zone? Hundreds of thousands? How did so many people die? Because of the radioactive material. From the explosions and fires came what we call atomic dust, which proceeded to float up into the sky, then fall back down to the earth with rain. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Because this is the truly terrifying part. Think of what will happen when the radiation bottled up in this place spreads to the surrounding regions. If you could see the explosion, you were basically already dead within a few hours. Fair enough. Are you sure you're not thinking of the atomic bomb that were dropped on Japan? Because I don't think Chernobyl exploded. Oh, right, the wind carried radiation all over Europe. It's not just from the Chernobyl area. So what you're saying is that atomic dust stuff will leak out of here and contaminate the area outside the facility? Precisely. The area around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant has become uninhabitable to humans and will remain that way for the next 900 years. Therefore, modern emergency procedures for dealing with a meltdown are the result of people applying the lessons they learned from past nuclear disasters all around the world, thus strengthening the trends to make preventing the spread of radioactive material their first priority. Oh, here's a pet peeve of mine, right? In that nuclear power is like the second greenest power source that we have. It doesn't normally pump shit into the atmosphere. It doesn't contribute to global warming. The waste products are very small and easily contained. And the safety record of nuclear reactors is incredible. There have been 2 real nuclear disasters in history, one of which was Chernobyl, which was the result of the administration running it into the red and disregarding safety procedures to see what would happen. And the other was Fukushima, where the hand of Mother Nature rose up to smite an aging nuclear reactor that was about to be shut down. The third biggest nuclear reactor disaster in history was 3 Mile Island, which gave downtown Manhattan an X-ray, and that's it. You get more radiation from an airplane ride than you did from 3 Mile Island if you lived in New York City. The safety record for nuclear power is incredible. When it goes bad, it goes really bad, but it doesn't go bad very often. And considering the way we've been destroying the environment, the way that we need to combat climate change, we need more nuclear reactors to replace fossil fuels. We need to go nuclear. Anyways, that's Lore's soapbox for the moment. That's why all the bulkheads automatically locked down when a meltdown happened in this facility. In other words, Case N is a code to notify people that they're performing a forced lockdown with the bulkheads. So that's it. It was true that if the nuclear reactor was shielded by the unparalleled strength of composite steel plates, then it'd be able to easily handle a meltdown in the rare case of one. If the facility had been made of, say, normal reinforced concrete instead, then it would have most likely collapsed completely in the event of a steam explosion. Gee, I wonder what disaster they're referencing with that. So perhaps they'd made the facility into what was essentially one giant heavy metal box, so that all they'd have to do in times of emergency was simply close the lid, sealing everything inside into an airtight container. Though he could understand the logic behind that. But what are the people trapped inside supposed to do? Well, what to say? I hate to say it, but when that happens, the people inside are just supposed to die. Like, the containment system is designed so that the people trapped inside are locked in with the reactor so that the radiation doesn't get out. It sucks, but I understand why it's set up that way. He's right. Is there no way out? Like through the air ducts. The fact that we can still breathe means that air is passing through them somewhere, doesn't it? No, the air ducts have radioactive material filters set up all over in them. They block all potential routes to the surface and other areas. So, naturally, people can't get past them. Therefore, it's impossible to escape through the air ducts. They were that thorough? You don't fuck around with nuclear power, what to say. Indeed, all nuclear-related facilities are extremely careful when it comes to safety. Right now, Labo's basement floors have been completely cut off from the outside world, all to ensure that not a single speck of ash sneaks out. So just like your boss said earlier, our only option is to keep administering AD as we wait for the lockdown to lift. We are all going to have to destroy the clothes we're wearing when we get out of here, by the way. But before Ukita could finish his sentence, June cut in. Hold on, Mr. Ukita. It doesn't look like we'll be able to just sit around and take it easy. Why's that? June responded by taking her Procyon out of her breast pocket. Take a look at the reading of this Procyon. It's now up to 1605 MSV. But it was only around 100 MSV right after the lockdown started. And though the reading's been varying from place to place, it's still slowly but surely increasing. What? Now that he thought about it, she was right. The reading he'd seen when he'd first looked at a Procyon was about 1100 MSV. The reading really had increased in the short amount of time that had passed since then. What's going on, Mr. Ukita? Why is the reading getting bigger? Even if the place is set up so that radioactive material doesn't spread out of the facility, isn't there something in the place that can counter it? No, you see, I don't know either. Are you serious? Yeah, are you serious? Why don't you know? The security gates between each area are supposed to be effective at preventing the spread of radioactive material like the bulkheads are. But maybe the gates and inner walls have been damaged in certain spots due to those explosions and fires. Or perhaps the filters in the air ducts are broken. What the hell? Then what was all that crap about being careful with safety? Anna's eyebrows raised sharply as she accosted Ukita. What kind of place locks down their bulkheads when there's still people inside and can't even open them up? Oh. Huh. Why is my dating sim chart different from the last time I had it? The radiation's getting stronger and stronger. The phones and radios are dead. The elevators aren't working. The sprinkler system hasn't done shit. Okay. I think I'm going to leave their dating sim values the way they are. Face it, this so-called radiation leakage prevention system is full of holes. I admit that our safety had a lot of shortcomings, but the system going haywire and the explosions were all factors beyond our expectations. Isn't that whole being careful about safety stuff supposed to keep those unexpected factors from happening? Hold on, calm down, Teach. Calm down? How the hell am I supposed to calm down? I wish it had been just me instead of me and my students who got trapped down here. Oh, another... alright. Individualist. I'm gonna up my dating sim value with her a little. I don't know anything about Mashiro, Luis, and Natsuhiko. So I will be neutral towards them. I'll raise my values with them. Taken aback, Watase glanced at the monitors again. Those three were also stuck in this unforgivingly harsh environment. With no one having come to their aid and pursued by the fires and fear of the radiation around them, they were no doubt still running around trying to find a way out. They should be dead. They haven't taken any AD in the last 2.5 hours. At the very least, we need to give them some AD as soon as possible. Enna sounded on the verge of tears. She may have looked harsh on the surface, but when it came down to it, she really was a teacher. She couldn't help but be worried about her students. But that's... No sooner had this thought hit him than did Kazumi speak for the both of them. My apologies, Miss Tsubakiyama, but there's still a problem regarding that. Huh? Even if we find them and take them with us, we'll need 9 AD per hour to keep us all alive. But right now, we only have 5 left. Forget just getting it to them. Not even all 6 of us will be able to survive the next hour if the situation doesn't improve. Everyone gasped. 5? That's all you have? My sincerest apologies. This is all because we didn't expect to get caught in a situation like this. How can you be so unprepared? Aren't you guys supposed to be a rescue squad? I truly am sorry. Watase grit his teeth as he listened to the cycle of blame and apologies/questioning and antagonism fly around him. Could this situation possibly get any worse? They needed 6 AD per hour to keep the entire group safe from radiation exposure, and they would need 1 more for each survivor that they rescued. It hadn't felt like they'd been so low on AD right after they'd saved Yuri. But with Teach and Mr. Ukito with us now, we finally come up short. He didn't know how the situation had gotten so bad, nor did he have time to think about it. But their next course of action was clear. So basically, we'll have to find enough AD for everyone. As we're looking for the other 3 survivors, won't we? Correct, and as soon as possible, too. Kazumi looked back at the monitors. Before their cumulative exposure exceeds fatal levels. Cumulative exposure? Kazumi quickly answered Watase's question. The radiation you're exposed to builds up in your body. That total amount is known as the cumulative exposure. What the Procyon actually shows is how much radiation you'll be exposed to per hour in your current location. In other words, that means we'll be exposed to 1605 MSV per hour in our present environment. The fatality rate for having a cumulative exposure of 2000 MSV is approximately 5%. At 4000 MSV, it's approximately 50%. And if it goes up to 8000 MSV, that's a 99% chance of death right there. In other words, the more your cumulative exposure increases, the higher and quicker the risk of dying gets. And it takes a long time for any radiation you've accumulated to go away. Which meant that if they didn't give themselves any AD in this environment, their cumulative exposure would reach 4000 MSV in 2.5 hours and 8000 MSV in 5 hours. If we don't find more AD, we'll all be dead before the lockdown can be lifted. Ukita then spoke up as this thought crossed Watase's mind. But AD can almost completely detoxify radiation doses up to 4000 MSV. And it's still very useful in keeping you alive longer than you normally would, even in environments of up to 8000 MSV. Our cumulative exposure won't rise so long as we keep administering AD. Are you positive about that? I'd really appreciate it if you could back that up with proof. It may be hard to believe, but please trust me completely on this matter. AD is our lab's greatest masterpiece. Also, he has no reason to lie because he needs the AD too. It protects the entire body from radiation exposure through stable iodine agents, chelating agents, 9 types of Prussian blue anti-radiation medicine, and medical marijuana. All of these circulate throughout the body through the vein it's injected into, protecting your cells, blood, nerves, and genes. It spreads through your gastric and respiratory mucosa in just 3 minutes, completely cutting off all intake of radioactive material. Furthermore, it detoxifies all radiation materials and chemical compounds, which are excreted from the body through sweat and urine. The reason I'm so calm is because I'm aware of just how incredibly effective AD is. Trust me, I'd be panicking if it wasn't. I see. Ukita's voice and expression both seemed totally honest. So basically, they could survive so long as they kept administering AD. But their bodies would get closer and closer to death with each passing moment once its effects wore off. Then we can't just keep standing around here and complain all day, right? We have to get all of the AD we can find lying around this place and get them to Natsuhiko and the others. Hey, Mr. Ukita, can't we use the surveillance cameras to look for survivors? He's right, or even use the PA to call for them. Unfortunately, the PA is not working anymore, and almost all of the cameras are broken. Well, that's just great. How'd that happen? Probably due to the effects of the fires and explosions, dumbass. Even most of the surveillance footage is vanishing. Though from what I can surmise from the minuscule amounts of footage I could recover, they were apparently heading towards Area 6. How do they have the key card to get in there? Area 6? Meaning they'd been heading to an area much further ahead than this one. But just knowing that was enough. Actually, that's perfect. I mean, it's possible that there's more survivors than just those 3. So we'll need to comb through all the areas from top to bottom anyway in order to rescue them all. Yes, we've already finished searching areas 1 and 2. Which means that we'll have searched all the areas if we press on while searching everywhere from areas 3 to 6. Dojima and Hiyama should also be there. Not only do they both have their own AD too, but they're the best in the squad next to the captain, meaning we'll have nothing to fear if we regroup with them. Alright, Tachibana, Moribe, let's get a move on right away. Anna then turned to them with a firm voice. I'm coming too. Yeah, we're not leaving any of you behind. We need to keep you on hand to dose you. Me too. It'd be more effective to keep progressing onwards while we're all searching. We can't allow civilians to assist with our... I will drop Kazumi's Denison value a bit. and upgrade antennas so that we take them with. Is this really the time to be saying that? Indeed. Besides, I'm very familiar with Labo and its structure. I can probably be of at least a little use. I'll go too. I might not be able to do anything, but I'll try my best. Even Ukita and Yuri were siding with Ena. Teach and the others are right, Tachibana. Time's too precious to waste it on arguing. He's right, Lieutenant. Let's put reality before the rules right now. You're right. We don't have much choice. Kazumi nodded after a moment's hesitation. And thus 6 wills became one to accomplish the same goal. To survive. And also to rescue the survivors. They had to act as soon as possible in order to fulfill these tasks. Then let's hurry. How exactly do we plan on searching? We need 76 more AD. We only have 2 Procyon and security cards, so let's split into 2 groups and search. Who will be on what team? After taking balance into consideration, I believe that Captain, Yuri, and I should be on the same team. Roger. So, June can handle the rest of them by herself? Alright. Okay. I guess Kazumi wants to keep an eye on the 2 of us. But I guess that means Miss Tsubakiyama and Mr. Ukita will be with me. Alright. I have no objections myself. Then our team will sweep the inner ring, so I'd like for Moribe's team to handle the outer ring. There are 4 things we need to look for. The survivors and AD. And if possible, see if you can locate an escape route or a level 5 security card so we can get into Area 5. The AD are being stored in iron medical boxes. Some might be lying around in a passageway or something like that, so check them carefully. We're pressed for time, so hurry, but do not rush this, and please put your own safety above all else. Alright then, let's get started. Yeah! And so, with Kazumi's words having sparked a fire in them all, the group ran out of the surveillance room. Is that the first chapter done? Nope. Okay, I'm going to save. And then, we've been going for 3.5 hours, which is short of the 4 hours I have scheduled for today. But my sinus swelling is really acting up today. So I think that's a good stopping point. Unless you think we should do a little bit more, Shy. And I owe you a bunch of time. We have a bunch of open days later in the month that we can set up a 3rd stream of this to make up for what I missed last month. I'm getting close to where the OP plays. Oh, okay. We'll go till we do that then. Watase, Kazumi, and Yuri immediately began searching Area 3's inner ring. They first ran into the nearest room. It was a somewhat large laboratory. Deeper inside was a space that seemed to be for a rest area, a guard's room, or possibly a conference room. Alright, commence the search. We have 1 minute. Yeah! Yes! The group split up and searched the room. Though they didn't find the survivors or a medical box there, something still caught their eyes. A notepad was lying on the floor. Something had been hastily scribbled on it. 9:18, sprinkler system inspection. The inspectors, Takashita, Urabe, Misono, will gather in the engine room at 1 p.m. Make sure that the system has been manually shut off before the inspection. Why'd they shut it off 2 days early? The sprinkler system. Could this inspection be the reason why it's not online? Kazumi ran up to him and took a look at the note. No, the date's wrong. Today's September 16th. But perhaps we'll find out why the sprinkler system's offline if we go to this engine room. Do you know where it is? Negative. I can only hope we find it in our future search. But though they hadn't gained much information, it was still progress. Alright, next room. The group finished up their search of the room in precisely 1 minute, then headed for the next one. They entered the hallway and went next door. But what they found was no ordinary room, but rather an elevator hall. The survivors were nowhere to be found, and all the elevator lights were off. So, it appears that all the elevators in this facility are disabled, not just Area 1 and 2s. Couldn't we climb up the elevator shaft to get to the surface? Unfortunately, there's a bulkhead in the shafts at the section that leads to the surface. Oh, she already checked, I guess. That's also got to be part of the radiation leakage prevention system. With the elevators out, the group had no choice but to move on. Their next destination was the connecting passageway that led to Area 4. But it was buried in a mountain of rubble. This rubble, was it created by the explosions that occurred before the meltdown? Okay, so we've got to go to the outer side to get to Area 4 then. The outer ring. Most likely. I don't think we can get past it. Though they'd finally got their hands on a level 4 card, it meant nothing in the face of this. It appeared they'd need to find another way into Area 4. There's no point in standing around here. Let's move on. The group went back to Area 3 and headed towards Area N this time. And when they got to the Area N connecting passageway, they were greeted by a door with a security terminal stationed next to it. Might be more like 40 minutes to the OP. I kind of have a headache, Shy. Oh my god, I am so close to getting the surgery. I had the CAT scan yesterday morning at 8 a.m. and 40 miles away from home. I had to wake up at 6 a.m. yesterday, which is part of why I was so exhausted when I got home from helping my sister move that night. I had the CAT scan, so now I'm having the follow-up appointment on the 8th. And then hopefully I get the surgery date at that appointment. If not, I'll get it soon after. And then I'll have the surgery, and then I will be free from the pressure headaches and from the breathing troubles and from not being able to enunciate properly. Oh, I cannot wait. It's coming. We're almost there. But unfortunately, it's taken long enough that my polyps have grown inside my sinuses enough that I get pressure headaches on the regular now. So that's part of why my streams have been so short lately. Which I apologize for. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna save here. And we're gonna end for the day. So yeah, I'll read my schedule and get off. Now I'll give my thoughts on the game. It's certainly a novel choice system. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Like, it's clever, and if it's based on a real personality chart, it makes sense that they would do something with it, but I like traditional choices better so far. But we'll see how I feel about it as we go. As for the overall plot, it's good, but it's meandering in a way that, like, okay, the Zero Escape games kept you engaged through all the dialogue. It was really well written, and engaging. It was like reading a very good novel. So I almost never felt impatient. This game makes me feel impatient. And I don't know if I just have really high standards because the first non-Ace Attorney visual novels I played were the Zero Escape games, but that is a little frustrating. I want things to happen, and they're not happening. It also doesn't have, like, Uchikoshi's philosophical tangents about whatever he was thinking about at the moment he was writing the script were really good. They were fun. They were fun to explore. They were interesting thought exercises. They were cool character building. And they were very charming because it was obviously the author talking about the stuff that interested him. We've had some explanations of stuff in this game, but it's felt a little more robotic than that. So, and that's just a symptom of the writing in Zero Escape being top-notch, stellar. Not every game's gonna have writing that good. So I'm intrigued. I'm interested in seeing where this goes, but so far, not a 10 out of 10 game. Excuse me. But that's what we're going to do for today. So let me read my schedule and get off. First, I would like to plug a couple of things. First, if you're watching on YouTube, okay, I guess I'll do YouTube first. If you're watching on YouTube, I stream live on Twitch every day, almost every day, at 1 p.m. EST. You can find my actual schedule of what games I'm going to play in the Discord server, but we'd love to have you live in chat. Come talk to me. I love having people in chat to talk to, discuss the game, see how things go. Watch me live. If you're watching live on Twitch, I have a YouTube channel, which you can find with the !YT command, or just go to @Loreweaver on YouTube. I managed to get that username this far into YouTube's existence. I don't know how. I upload all my streams there, so every game that I've played in the last 7 years or so is up there, all the playthroughs, lots of full playthroughs if you want to watch other stuff I play. I have a good time. Watch whatever you like. I have a wide variety of games. I'd also like to plug my Patreon, which you can find either in the description of the YouTube video or with the !Patreon command in Twitch chat. It's patreon.com/LoreweaverStreams. I make my living off of Patreon, and it's my sole source of income, so I make enough to pay my rent and my bills, but I don't really make much beyond that. And I would be grateful if you guys would help me get emergency savings for medical emergencies, for if I need to replace stuff, you know, the works. And I've been very poor for a very long time and haven't really had that kind of safety and security. So if you could go to my Patreon and pledge $1 a month or $1 per stream or anything in between, pledge a bunch per stream if you really want to change my life, I would be grateful. I'm grateful to everybody who pledges, who makes it so I can have this job. I love my job. I love what I do for a living, and I wouldn't be able to do it without my patrons. So I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you. As for the schedule, tomorrow is our weekly Final Fantasy XIV stream. We'll be continuing Stormblood. Sunday, we'll be playing Wild Arms 3 for a patron. Monday, we'll be playing The Somnium Files for a patron. Tuesday, we'll be playing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for a patron. Wednesday, we'll be continuing Root Double Before Crime After Days at 4 p.m. EST for a patron. Friday, we have 2 streams. First, we'll be playing Persona 5 Strikers for a patron, and then at 7:30 p.m. EST, we'll be watching the Game Awards. So tune in live for that. Then Friday, I don't have a stream because that's my doctor's appointment, and I'll be spending the day with my mom after that. And next Saturday will be Final Fantasy XIV again. So that's what's coming up. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.